Week 7 preview, Fantasy Savvy channel. I'm Steve D'Angelo. Follow me on Fantasy. Follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. Just came off a pretty damn serious game between the Bengals and the Steelers, the old man ball. Classic matchup here to watch between these two guys going back and forth. Rodgers throwing an incredible bomb at the end. I think they said it was the longest bomb since 2017. So that was pretty nuts to see him do that. We're going to be joined by Joe Carlton in a minute here, just getting things together. We're going to recap this Thursday night game. We're going to go game by game for week 7, getting into every single matchup, every single fantasy relevant player. So if you guys are watching tonight, jump in the chat, ask us anything you want regarding this week's matchups, trades, lineups, decisions, injuries, whatever you want. We'll get into it. So follow the channel, hit that like, subscribe button. We appreciate it. Hit that notification button. We're going to be going live with Joe fairly soon, bringing him in. But on the way back, we'll bring back the intro. We'll get into every single game. Fantasy Savvy on X. Let's go. Okay, we're back. Thanks for joining us tonight. So, Bengals pull off a huge win, 33-31. They moved to 3-4. Huge for the Ravens. The Ravens wanted to see Pittsburgh lose. Obviously, Ravens on a bye this week. They need Pittsburgh to lose to try to chase them. Bengals, they're trying to play until Joey Burrow gets back. Mid-December is the latest report. And Joe Flacco, I mean, credit to this guy, comes into the offense, last week, plays against the Packers, starts slow, finishes the game strong, starts a little bit slow tonight, then just goes off, just letting it loose, being aggressive as hell. Justin Fields, take notes. I mean, I know you're not throwing Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but, just let it rip. Flacco doesn't care, man. He doesn't care if he throws picks. He just lets it rip. And when you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, that's what you want to do. 31 of 47, 342 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, insane fantasy football game for Joe Flacco. So if you didn't have Allen this week, if you didn't have Lamar this week and you used Joe Flacco, you got him cheap. And, you can't ask for anything more. He even ran for 3 yards. So if you somehow took the Joe Flacco rushing prop, you win that as well. He had a 12-yard run, actually, which was a shocker. That might have been the longest run of his in like his last 5-6 years. I don't know how long, but just an incredible performance. Jamar Chase, I mean, 23 targets, 16 catches, $161 and a touchdown. I mean, that's just unbelievable. That's just unbelievable. I believe it's like 38 fantasy points for Jamar Chase. 38 fantasy points for Jamar Chase. You got about 33 from Aaron Rodgers tonight, who we're going to get into. So he had a big game as well. But T. Higgins has a nice game. 6 for 96 and a touchdown on 10 targets. So good to see that. If you were drafting those Burrow, T. Higgins, Chase stacks, obviously you don't have Burrow, but you fill it in with another quarterback and you still benefit with the 2 receivers going nuts. Yoshi Vaz had a tough game. The week prior had 3 drops, 3 for 49 here. Had 1 drop early, but finished the game strong, 37-yard catch. Noah Fant gets into the end zone, 4 for 44. Still not really on your fantasy radar just yet. But, I mean, hey, with Joe Flacco, anything's possible. The one guy you thought that would get going in the passing game, at least I expect. I took the prop over 3.5. It was plus money, plus 130. Chase Brown, 2 catches for -8 yards. I mean, I was just thinking Flacco was going to have to be dunking off to him most of the night. But, Flacco wasn't doing that. He was getting pretty good protection. I mean, I think he was only sacked twice, and they came towards the end of the game. At least one of them came towards the end of the game. And, he was just throwing a Chase. Chase was open. They were using him in the slot. He was wide open multiple different times. The Steelers, I don't know what they were doing on defense. They couldn't make any adjustment. They looked confused. That one time they showed it. They brought Chase in motion, and Patrick Queen was confused, and he's just wide open on a drag route. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. That he's going off like that. It's Jamar Chase. He's going to go off, but you can't leave the guy open that many damn times. So that was obviously very frustrating if you're a Steelers fan, especially that last drive when they went right down the field. And, just an unbelievable win here for Cincinnati. And, I think that's 3 straight underdog upsets on Thursday night. So Thursday night usually has given us these dud games for the most part, but this year I think we've had some pretty quality games. All right, we got Joe Carlton in here now. What's up, Joe?
What's going on, Steve?
What's going on, man? Good to have you again.
Oh yeah, that was an exciting game, man. That might have been the highest scoring Bengals Steelers game I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty insane. I got to go look back at the history of those matchups, but yeah, I mean 33-31 with Rodgers and Flacco showing the young bucks, the young athletic scramblers who coming into the league had to stick in the pocket and make throws left and right. I went through the Bengals box score already, but anything that stuck out to you or anything you talk about as far as the Bengals before we move on to the Steelers?
Well, it was never a doubt in my mind that Jamar Chase was still going to continue wide receiver 1 production, but the what do you have, 14 receptions?
16, 23 targets.
16. Yeah, 16 receptions is insane. Yeah. T. Higgins is back on the menu with Flacco at quarterback.
Yep.
Chase Brown finally got a 100-yard rushing game. I
didn't talk about him yet. Yep.
I was torn about. I almost benched him. Actually, I almost played Woody Mox over him, but then I started
Vidal over him. I started Vidal over him in one league.
Oh, that's rough. I don't think I.
But I mean, he only had 10 points. I mean, he only had 12 points. He didn't give you that many points. So
no, I know he didn't get in the end zone, and then he dropped the ball where he probably could have had like a 20 or 30-yard.
He had -8 receiving yards. That's where I thought he was going to do more of his work. But yeah, he looked good in the running game. So that's a good sign that they got the run game going for them.
Got my coffee tonight in case we go through to go extra late.
You never know. You never know how long we're going to go in the show. You never know.
I know. But yeah, that was a good game, man. All 3 tight ends for Pittsburgh got a touchdown. That was another observation.
Yeah, we'll talk about Pittsburgh. Rodgers, 23 of 34, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. That last throw he had, farthest throw in the NFL, 68 yards since 2017. So that's pretty insane. That last Hail Mary bomb, he just throws that thing perfectly. Jaylen Warren looks incredible again, 16 for $127. And then coming in, the Bengals were the worst team against tight ends. And I kind of said it. And I was in another chat, and I was saying, maybe just take all the tight end props with Jonnu and Darnell. But then I was like, you never know Artie. Like, he could just throw Freiermuth into the mix. And that's what he did. 5 for 11 for Freiermuth, $111, 2 touchdowns. This guy is so talented. They haven't been using him. It's been so freaking weird. Maybe because Artie's boy John was in the building. But they've been using Darnell Washington over him, last week because they want to get the run game going. And Darnell Washington caught a touchdown. But Freiermuth, they got to get more involved. 5 for 11. Metcalf, slow game. He started out hot. Metcalf had that one pick, and then Aaron Rodgers, that dropped, and then it got picked, and then Rodgers missed him on the bomb. I don't know if Rodgers was pissed at him after that. That could have been quite possible because he didn't really get much action after that. Jaylen Warren, 4 for 31, and then Jonnu, 3 for 28 and a touchdown. Roman Wilson, 2 for 17. Had another big play called back. But what do you think about Rodgers' performance first? Like, do you think that he's going to be like a top, like a QB1 going forward? Do you think that's possible, Rodgers? I mean, he's been pretty damn good the last couple games.
Yeah, he does look pretty good. I mean, you have to take into account that the Cincinnati Bengals have been historically bad at covering tight ends. So
good matchup here, yeah.
And he did pick them apart underneath, especially in the red zone. Shout out Joey Brown though, man. He started Aaron Rodgers over Drake May. in
Yeah,
in a
that's
huge in a
ballsy foul.
huge in a
That's
silver
ballsy
bullet
foul.
league. In the
I would
silver
have I
bullet.
would have never done that, especially in silver bullet. I mean, it's one thing to have Allen out and add freaking Aaron Rodgers, but to start him over Drake May, and it worked out. I mean, you're happy right now. That's a great move.
Yeah, I mean 6-point passing touchdown league. So he got Joey 33 fantasy points. So we'll
Yep.
see if I don't know if Drake May can match that. I mean, Drake May usually gets like between like 23 and 30. I don't know if he's
That's
gonna
gonna be hard to
go.
match. That's gonna be hard to match.
Yeah, good call, man. But yeah, I mean, they're generally a running team, but this game, just the way that the pace of this game, it doesn't surprise me. You know, Flacco and Rodgers both like to get the ball out quickly, so and play at like a higher pace.
Yeah, take
So,
notes, Justin Fields. I mean, I know his receivers doesn't have Chase and freaking Higgins, but take notes. Go ahead.
Yeah, they both of these crafty veterans, man. They know how to get the ball out quick, and they know how to play fast pace. So it just turned into that type of game in the second half, and it doesn't surprise me at all that that it ended up being, you know, Rodgers ended up throwing for 4 touchdowns just based on how the game played out.
I watched Rodgers play in the game last week, and I was like, he looks really damn good, and that's why I kind of felt kind of good picking him up in some leagues this week. But like now, I feel like I want to keep him on my roster. You know, I don't want to just necessarily cut him, even though I have Allen. I feel like I want to see how he does the next couple games, maybe at least if I'm not desperate to pick anything else up. What do you think about Freiermuth? I mean, this guy's been dead and forgotten in fantasy football. And Joey's in the room now, says Muth should be the number 2 in Pittsburgh going forward. Muth is so athletic. I agree. He's a good player. Do you think that he's going to just be inconsistent? I mean, you never know with Artie Smith that you kind of rotate these tight ends, but are you going to be, interested to add him in some leagues next week?
If I'm tight end needy, yeah, he's probably worth an ad. This is definitely an eye-opening performance. He does have the athleticism, like Joey says. John, the fact that, they do rotate all 3 tight ends, so I wouldn't expect a high-volume game like every week in and week out. But, bye weeks are coming up, so you might want to take a flyer on him if you don't already have your tight end too.
Yeah, and Joey says revenge game next week for Rodgers against Green Bay in Pittsburgh. That'll be an interesting game for sure. We do have a question in the chat before we get into these matchups for Week 7. Jay Cheddar says, "Got a quick question." He's on Twitch, which is always good. I know Anthony, man. When we used to run the show on Face Off, he had a big presence on Twitch. Like nobody really did that, but he had the presence on Twitch. So I added a Twitch here on my show because of that. But yeah, that's cool that we're getting our first question from Twitch. And Twitch people are usually late night people as well. So that's always good. Got a quick question. Should I trade Tedero and McMillan and Bill Krosky Merritt for CeeDee Lamb? Yes. My final team post trade would be Drake May, Josh Jacobs, Mason, Jettis, Lamb, Kittle, Adunze, Abuka, who's injured, Woody Marks, Travion, Kenneth Gainwell, Gowan, Mason Taylor, and Omarion on IR. I'm doing that deal. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, you got the running back depth too. So, yeah, I'm definitely tearing up at wide receiver for sure. Yeah. I like Tet rest of the season, don't get me wrong, but, you're talking about CeeDee Lamb, man.
Right, exactly. And Dak is looking incredible so far. Thanks for the question, Jay Cheddar. If you got any more, let us know. Josh says, that's the weakest Pittsburgh D-line play I've seen against Cincinnati maybe ever. I'd like to give credits to the Bengal line, but I think it was more lack of juice on Pittsburgh. So, yeah, I was shocked by that. Flacco really had a lot of time. That's why I thought Brown was going to catch a lot of dump offs tonight. But it was kind of a mix of Flacco having time and him being aggressive at the same time. But yeah, that was kind of shocking. I mean, these Thursday night games are always kind of wonky. Maybe they just thought we're going to come in, we'll kind of take it a little easy, and Flacco just hit him in the mouth. I don't know.
Well, last week, this Pittsburgh defense shut down Quinshon Judkins. I mean, I think now looking a little bit closer at it, I think the quarterback play probably had a lot to do with that. Dylan Gabriel didn't have the, you know what I mean?
True.
I think the fact that, they don't have the wide receivers and the quarterback play to open things up probably was the reason why they shut down Judkins. But that's a head scratcher. If you don't look beyond the surface, they shut down Judkins, who seemed to be matchup proof, since he's been in the NFL, and then they turn around and just get lit up by Chase Brown on the ground for over 100 yards.
Yeah, they haven't been running at all. They've been one of the worst rush offenses in the league. So that was a shocker. Yeah. Kenneth Gainwell, just 3 carries for 14 yards, 2 catches for 1 yard. So it's the Jaylen Warren show. I mean, Jaylen Warren's been so damn solid all season long. He's going to continue to, be the number one guy. Depending on game script, maybe Gainwell gets, some flex value, but it's going to be hard to really rely on him consistently. And, Jaylen Warren, he's going to be great as long as he stays healthy. I mean, he's a little undersized, but he's kind of like a bowling ball type running back, and he's a strong runner. And he's finally getting, a decent amount of looks. So, and he's looking pretty damn good. Great win by the Bengals. We'll see if they can make, this team playoff relevant towards the end of the season, where Joe Burrow gets a chance to kind of, maybe step in at some point and, maybe have a chance to push this team into the playoffs. But that remains to be seen. All right. Anything else on this game before we move on here?
We do have one more trade evaluation in the chat.
Rip DT88 says, I just traded BTJ for Judkins. How do you feel about this?
I don't like it unless you have the wide receivers or you really needed the running back. Like, I probably should have a little more context to give an official evaluation, but I think that I really like BTJ the rest of the season. So no knock on Judkins, but wide receivers might, have carry more value, I think, especially, down the stretch. BTJ was an absolute monster. I think that they finally found a way to get him involved in that offense. They simplified his route tree, and he has to be more effective. They had to find a way to get him going.
Yeah, back-to-back 80-yard games, and he scored last week, which is good. Had that big catch at the end of the game 2 weeks ago as well. I kind of like holding on to BTJ, but, maybe it works out for you. Josh says playoff relevant. Easy, Steve. Let's not get carried away. Hey, man, Joe Flacco, the legend of Joe Flacco. You never know. I mean,
there's enough talent on that Bengals team, and that division is weak, man. They just moved up a game against the division leaders. And they got him one more time, I believe, at some point in the season.
But I mean, this is what Flacco does, though. Usually, he's good. He comes to a new team. He's good for like 3-4 games. Then he starts to fall off, and it gets really freaking ugly. But he's got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. So I mean, he's got 2 of the best receivers in the league. So I don't know. Maybe he keeps it going. I mean, I don't know.
So
it could turn ugly, though. Could turn ugly.
Easily the 2 best wide receivers he's ever played with.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's played with Steve Smith, but he's never had this combo of talent, I don't think, ever. So, yeah, exactly. But, I mean, this guy is a, Super Bowl champ. He can throw the football around. He's just old as dirt, but, it's, in NFL standards. But, incredible performance tonight, man. That was a pretty entertaining game. Jamie, our boy, is back tonight. Says, "What up, guys?"
Says he's sober. He says he's sober tonight.
Okay, no wild shit from me this year. He was blasted the other night on the Face Off Sports Network for sure. Z Money says, "I have to drop one: Josh Downs, Tez Johnson, or Troy Franklin."
I'm probably gonna say Tez just because the long-term value is not there.
Yeah, I would agree there as well. Evans could be coming back this week. It's possible. I think he was limited in practice today. I think Ibuka is probably going to be out.
I'm pretty sure Evans is going to play. I've seen a couple of real positive things on him this week, and now usually I'd be a little worried about putting them in the lineup right away, but where they just have nobody healthy, so they might have to give them the ball. instead of easing them in. I think they're going to use them out of necessity, and they're in Detroit.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that game a little bit later. There's a lot of player props I like in that game.
That's the first Monday night game, so that's going to be one of the last games we talk about.
Yeah, I think that game's going to shoot out. But yeah, we'll talk about that later on, I guess.
All right, so yeah, Bengals get a huge win. Bengals cover the spread. They win outright. So if you took the money line, I know, Joe, you took them in a couple pools to win straight up. So props to you on that.
Yeah, both of my pick'ems, I took the Bengals.
I'm in a spread pool. I took the Bengals to cover. I think they're +5, 5.5. Game goes way over the total, over 45. Jaylen Warren, I took that touchdown prop that didn't hit. All my props that I took didn't hit. I had Metcalf over 65.5. That looked great early. That fell apart. What I should have done, and what we all should have probably done, was just bet all the tight end props. And we would all look good.
I went in last minute. I didn't do anything earlier today. I went in last minute, and I only did one bet, and I did a Jonnu anytime touchdown. So
nice. All right, let's talk about another London game this week. This is 3 straight weeks now. 9:30 in the morning, East Coast time. Los Angeles versus Jacksonville. I think a couple of years ago, Jacksonville played back-to-back games in London, and they kind of gave them an advantage. I think the second time they played Buffalo, and Buffalo just looked out of sorts. And Jacksonville, Buffalo had like all these injuries. Jacksonville beat them. It was like a big upset. So they're kind of used to going over there. Maybe that gives them a little bit of advantage. New coaching staff, but Trevor Lawrence has played there a few times. I don't know if Stafford's played there yet. Probably maybe at least once. But, the spread is Rams -1.5. The total is 44.5. And, Lawrence playing a little bit better football the last couple of weeks. He's running a little bit more. He's had 2 back-to-back good fantasy performances. We just talked about BTJ getting in a little bit of rhythm. Travis Hunter has, been very, very frustrating, to say the least. ETN hasn't been the best the past couple weeks. We're going to have no Puka in this game. So, Devontae Adams could go nuts in this game. We have Jordan Whittington, being picked up in a lot of leagues. If he's out there and you need a receiver, I like using him this week. Joe mentioned Tyler Higbee as well the other night. He likes him to fill in, with the absence of Puka. But how are you seeing this game going, and who do you like to stand out in fantasy, or who are some guys you avoiding in this game?
I'm actually a little bit worried about Devontae Adams. I'm not going to lie. The Jacksonville Jaguars, even though they're 21st or 23rd or something like that against the wide receivers. Yeah, I noticed that they do a good job at taking away the top option and making you use other pass catches. That's kind of why I like Higbee. Jordan Whittington's probably going to be a decent plug-in play this week. Initially I wasn't in on him as a to throw in your lineup, but I think the more and more I evaluated the matchup, I think I like Whittington. I trust Whittington in fantasy lineups as well as Higbee. Devontae Adams will certainly get the volume, but yeah, and he'll probably produce. I'm not saying bench Devontae, but I would temper the expectations of him having like a 30-point game or whatever. I think Kyron does all right. Kyron's going to be good. I did pick Jacksonville in my pick'ems. I think, not having Puka is going to affect the Rams offense and the flow of everything for them on the offensive side of the ball. Their defensive line is very good. And they're decent at stopping the run. So, I don't see ETN breaking off a big play. So I would, I think they're going to contain ETN. But Trevor Lawrence, the fact that Trevor Lawrence is looking pretty good, I don't think the game shoots out. I don't expect many big fantasy performances here, but I'm playing Brian Thomas. If I'm doing a prop bet and I didn't see anything that I was like real sure of,
Yeah.
but I do like taking a shot on a Travis Hunter anytime touchdown. It's like plus, I think it's plus 330.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, I'm on the opposite. I mean, I just feel like, it could be too obvious, but the thing about McVay's offense is like they just concentrate on one receiver, and like whether it was Puka or Cooper Kupp, like whoever he chose, like obviously he used to choose Cooper Kupp all the time to feature him, and then Puka started to work in, and then Puka kind of stole that role where Puka was like the featured guy. And, but a couple of games last year when Puka was hurt early on, Cooper Kupp was featured and he was like going off. So that's kind of why I see Devontae going off in this game because he's going to get featured in this game. Now, Whittington, I think, is going to have a presence, but they're not going to feature Whittington like they're going to feature Devontae. So McVay is going to get him set up. He's going to move him around. He's going to get him on, layup type plays, just what he's just excellent at doing. So I just think Devontae is going to have a huge game. I'm probably going to take all his props. I'm going to take the Rams in this game -3. I'm going to take Adams over 75.5 yards, over 6.5 catches. I'm going to take BTJ over 65.5 yards as well. And Rams -3 in London. And if you want to go for the gusto a little bit, I saw Adams 2 touchdowns plus 550, which I think is, in the realm of possibilities. But yeah, I mean, the Jaguars defensive coach, I think he's done a pretty good job. Again, I mentioned the other night in the Face-Off channel, he's from Fair Lawn, New Jersey. I actually was talking to my boy who went to the same high school, Params Catholic. He actually graduated with him in high school, and he was the starting quarterback, Campanelli. And he goes, good thing he's coaching defense now because I guess he wasn't the best high school quarterback. But, whatever. I mean, the guy's killing it. He's doing a great job. He's had some high-end jobs. Rutgers, he coached at one of the prestigious high school programs in North Jersey at Don Bosco, and now he's coaching the Jaguars defense, and he's doing a pretty good job. They struggled a little bit last week, but yeah, I like the Rams here. No big plays for you here. Are you going to take the Jags officially, or you just have them in that pool?
I just have them in a pick 'em pool. Like if I'm forced to pick I don't like. I'm not betting on the game. It's too close for me. Like you like the Rams, I like the Jaguars. So that already tells me stay away from the game. But I'm kind of siding with the Jaguars on this one. I think just because Puka is out and Adams had 9 targets last week and five receptions. After Puka, I think the defense is going to double him up. McVay's going to have to get creative, and then in order to open things up for Adams. So like you said, he might be able to. He is an intelligent coach in that aspect, but Lamb Cohen's just as smart on the other side of the ball. So it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, the one thing you could say is, probably a lot of people are going to take Adams props, which kind of scares you. But I'm just going off based of what I've seen in this offense. When the main guy gets featured, it just seems to go off. So it doesn't matter who the hell it is out there. But these two teams have played 4 times. The Rams have won, or the last 10 years, Rams have won 3 out of the 4. Last matchup was 2021, 37-7. All right, let's move on to the next game here. We're going to talk about your boys, New England at Tennessee. This is going to be a Mike Vrabel revenge game. Tennessee just fired their coach, Brian Callahan. His dad, Bill Callahan, obviously he's famous for, coaching the offensive lineup. Went to a Super Bowl with the Raiders that year. He took over for Gruden. And then, so like his dad's still on the team, but his son's gone. It's got to be a bad vibe for Brian Callahan there. It's like his dad's still moving around, but he's gone. But yeah, Vrabel, why didn't they keep him? Obviously the owner, and him probably didn't get along or whatever. New England brings him back. New England's already turned their season around from last year with Jared Mayo. Credit to Kraft for moving off of him after 1 year. New England is playing great ball right now. And, Drake May looks great. Ramondre and Trevion, neither guy is really doing anything. Ramondre keeps fumbling, but Trevion in his opportunities is really not doing much. He really hasn't shown that, like he needs the ball just yet. We'll see how that, comes into fruition. Diggs, big game against the Bills, and last week he doesn't do anything. Then Kayshon Boutte, disappeared for 4 weeks after week 1, comes back with another big game. Hunter Henry hasn't been doing much the past couple weeks. From the New England side of the ball, what do you see here against Tennessee?
I see more of the same from the Patriots. They spread the ball around. I think Diggs probably he hasn't had one of those alpha games in a while. What'd you say the spread was? -7 for the Patriots?
6.5, 7, yeah.
So yeah. Again, I don't know if I'm necessarily bet that, but if I had to pick, I think the Patriots cover. The offense looks pretty legit. The last couple of weeks, they've really got it going. Drake May leads the NFL in passing yards. And Tennessee's, towards the back end in defense, they're like the 24th ranked defense, I believe. They're a little bit worse against the run than they are against the pass. But again, the Patriots use a committee. So it's not like it's going to be the Ramondre Stevenson show or the Trevion Henderson show. So I don't see any one of those guys having a ceiling game. Maybe like an anytime touchdown for Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's going to be all that high scoring of a game, but I do see the Patriots winning this game by more than one score.
Total is
42.
42. Yeah, 42 and a half. Diggs did have a big game against Buffalo. Obviously, that was his revenge game 2 weeks ago, and then last week he kind of disappeared. What do you think about Hunter Henry in this matchup? I mean, him and May have shown flashes of, really, really connecting. Titans are 9th best against tight ends, so top 10. So not particularly a great matchup here for Hunter Henry. What do you think about him in this game?
I mean, I feel like Hunter Henry gets used as when they really need to use him. If the offense is struggling to get a rhythm, Drake May usually goes to Hunter Henry to move the sticks and as like a safety blanket, try to get the something going, a rhythm, almost like the way they used to use James White back in the day when the offense, nothing else of the offense was working. James White started catching passes out of the backfield, and then the defense had to adjust, and then it opened things up. So I kind of think that's how they use Hunter Henry. That's why I like Diggs. I think Diggs has a pretty good game here, and it wouldn't surprise me if one or the other. I'm actually leaning to Mario Douglas over Boutte. But it's really hard to predict because they do spread the ball around, and it's all game plan and game script based. And I do think they're gonna run the ball. They are gonna run the ball. The more and more I talk this out, the more and more Joey Brown's Aaron Rodgers over Drake May decision really does make sense, man.
It makes sense because the Titans are actually top 6 against quarterbacks. Now, that may not be because their defense is the best, but that just teams have a lead on them and they're able to run in the second half, and they're 4th worst against running backs. Yes. So it makes sense. Ramondre and maybe Trevion. Maybe this is the game where he kind of, has a big game here. What do you think? Do you think Trevion could kind of have a little bit of a breakout game here?
If he gets the touches, I'd love to see it, man. I think it's coming.
But you'd have to think this would be the game he should get some touches, right? Like,
I think so. If they can get an early lead, I think that they're playing Cam Ward, so an early defensive touchdown, and then maybe Drake May drives him down, scores another one. Maybe we get a field goal. Maybe it's like 17-3 at some point, and then you start to see them running the ball. Maybe Trevion gets in there. We'll see. I mean, it's going to happen eventually. You can't hold him back all year, and Ramondre isn't exactly, blowing the top off. There's been games where he's run directly into the offensive line. It's like, what are you doing, dude? But Tennessee's Russian defense is pretty bad, and Jamie brings it up in the chat that they're a struggling defense all around. And they got an interim head coach. I do think it sparks them a little bit, but I think it's going to help. It's going to spark their offense more than their defense. In my opinion, they do play better in Tennessee. I will say that, but I just think the Patriots are clicking on all cylinders, and they'll find a way to get through the defense. And like you said, Steve, we may see Henderson get more carries if they can build a lead.
Yeah, I think I feel pretty good about using Ramondre and maybe even Henderson in this game. Drake May might have the most yards. I know Jamie just brought up that he likes his over passing prop here, 231. It's possible they could get a lot of opportunities. He's averaging 253 yards on the season. They could get a lot of opportunities with their defense. Cam Ward, man, just, it's just not clicking right now. Like, it's just, I thought he kind of looked better earlier in the season, and he seems like he's struggling a little bit more now. The receivers, obviously, it's not the best. Ridley has been hurt. He's had his issues. A.M. Manor is not doing much. Lockett is very old. Maybe they get the tight ends a little bit more involved this week with Chig and Gunnar Helm.
Yeah,
maybe that's where you're looking, for the Titans. Maybe you're looking at like Chig Okonkwo, because Chig Okonkwo has always been the type of guy, like, you just give him like a 3-4 yard pass, give him a little running room, and he just he's so quick and he can break tackles. It's kind of where he excels. So if you think about DFS this week, maybe a little Chig Okonkwo and like
DFS and props. I like that call, Steve, because the Patriots do give you the tight end. That's
27th.
Yep, 100%.
Let's see here. Tommy Tremble had 5 for 42 and a touchdown. Kincaid had a buck 108 against them as well. So yeah, maybe that's what I'm looking for if I want to start any Titans. Maybe it's Chig Okonkwo here. I know Gunnar Helm is kind of hurting him a little bit, with his playing time. But I don't, if you're desperate, use Tony Pollard. But I don't even feel good about Tony Pollard because the matchup isn't great, and also now he's got to deal with Tajay Spears in the mix too. So I'm not crazy about using Tony Pollard this week.
Maybe Tajay Spears gets a few receptions in this game too. The Patriots give you the underneath in the middle of the field, so they take away the outside, the big play wide receivers, and they do a good job at getting pressure on the quarterback too. So that's kind of why the tight end, they basically give you the tight end and the underneath. Pass catching running backs usually do well too. Pass catching running backs and tight ends. So they maybe look for Tajay to go over 3 or 4 receptions.
Ramondre Stevenson, FanDuel to score a touchdown is plus 105. So I probably would take that. I could definitely see him scoring in this game.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know what Trevion's is, but I'd be probably interested in that too. It's going to be you'll probably get pretty good odds on that as well. And then I'm going to take the Patriots in the Vrabel revenge game. I just, when I go through the spread, like I kind of have it like kind of close, like 6-7, but the way Cam Ward's playing and New England's defense, I think is going to come to play this week. Obviously they're a pretty solid defense. They got a lot of talent. And I think Drake May is playing great. So I think they could win this game by 10. So I'm going to take the Patriots minus 6.5 here.
I agree with that. I think that if the Patriots happen to get a defensive score early in the game, I think you could see Vrabel try to really open it up and blow and get aggressive. Mm-hmm. But if not, I don't see the game going over. I don't know about that. No. No, but it's going to take a defensive touchdown early on. If for you live prop bettors, if the Patriots do get an early defensive score, it's not going to be a close game. But otherwise, I could see Vrabel trying to manage the time of possession and really running not allowing Tennessee to gain any momentum. In obviously you know how coaches play to. I don't want to say play to not lose because that's not the point. But I just Vrabel's going to do everything in his power to make sure that there's no chance that Tennessee's going to win this game.
Well, also too, it's a revenge game for him too, so he may want to freaking run it up a little bit here.
That's what I'm saying, but I think it's going to take. I think it's going to take that early defensive score. They have to have that early 14-0 lead, 17-3 lead at the end of the first quarter. Then you might see him get aggressive. But if it's not,
Vic Long on Twitch, another Twitch guy says, what should I trade Saquon and Devontae Adams for? I mean,
I'm holding
those two. If you're trading those two guys, I mean, you should be getting something legendary.
I'm holding Saquon. I actually just trade in the excuse me, in the sports affiliation listener league. Experts listener league. I just traded for Saquon. I'm in on Saquon rest of the season. The schedule looks pretty good down the stretch. He hasn't really gotten much going. He's still healthy, and they're coming off a bye, and their offense hasn't shaped. I feel like they haven't figured out what's going to work for them this year. They got wide receivers crying about the ball. They got. I think that they're not really pressing Saquon at the same time because of how many touches he had last year. So they want him healthy when the games matter down the stretch. I sound like a broken record when I say teams rely on their best offensive weapons as the season goes on, but it's so true. So yeah, I'm holding Saquon. I wouldn't trade Saquon. Devontae Adams, I don't know if I'd trade him either.
Yeah, you'd have to really get a really good deal. Like, you're trying to get like a CMC or, a Bijan, like something like that. I mean, you traded two top guys at the position, so it'd have to be really something really, really strong. But if you just sit on these guys, you're fine. So I don't think you need to necessarily trade them. Another question here, Jelly of the Month 231 says PPR Mason Taylor versus Carolina, who is bad versus tight end. Yes, one of the worst, or Hunter Henry versus Tennessee. I mean, I know the matchup's great for Mason Taylor, but, obviously you feel much better about the Patriots offense here. What do you think, Joe?
I'm going Mason Taylor here. Garrett Wilson's out. They got to throw the ball to somebody. Carolina's defense isn't all that particularly.
Second worst against tight ends.
But just in general, their defense isn't that great, unless they're playing the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good performance. Yeah, but Derek Brown's a really good D tackle, though. He's like probably one of the best defensive linemen in the league.
I think Mason Taylor gets more volume than Hunter Henry does this week.
Yeah, that total is actually surprisingly a little high. We're going to talk about that game, but it's 41.5. I thought it'd be a little bit lower than that, actually. But all right. Yeah, I don't mind going with Taylor either with the matchup. He should get a lot of targets. I know last week was just a complete shit show playing one of the better defenses. But yeah, Taylor should bounce back a little bit here. No Garrett Wilson. He's got to throw to freaking somebody here. All right. Next game up. Let's talk about Saints going to the Bears. By the way, I just wanted to mention the Titans, they got a miracle win against Arizona, winning that game 22-21. Kyler Murray fumbled on like a snap that hit his like chest. Then there was like a dropped pick, fumble, touchdown that they got, and they had one other, crazy miracle play. So that was a miracle. And then they lose to the Raiders 2010. So yeah, New England should just come in here. Vrabel's going to want to take care of business. If this wasn't a revenge game, I'd say maybe a little bit of a trap, but Vrabel should be ready to go. All right, New Orleans at Chicago. Chicago's got a little bit fortunate here the last couple of weeks, too, with turnovers. Caleb is not really playing that great. I mean, there was 2 drop picks last week. He's been missing guys. I know if you look at some of the data, he has like some of the worst accuracy issues in the league. But, at times he's making good throws. He gets the team in position to score at the end of the game. So, but Geno turned it over 3 times against them when they beat the Raiders by 1. And then last week, the freaking Commanders turned it over 3 times as well. So they got a little fortunate there. And, like I said, the Commanders dropped 2 picks that they should have had against Caleb. So they're favored by 4.5 against the Saints. Credit to Spencer Rattler. I mean, I gave this guy a lot of shit, but he's playing pretty decent this year. He's definitely much improved from last year. Last year, I think he was probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. This year, he's got 6 touchdowns, just 1 pick. So he's playing pretty efficiently. Back-to-back 200-yard games. Completion percentage against New England, 76%. Last year, too, he didn't have Olave or Shaheed. Both those guys were hurt for, a big stretch of the season. So he basically was thrown to nobody. So do you think Chicago here, kind of 2 lucky wins, and they took care of business against Dallas, but Dallas's defense has their own issues, but 2 kind of fortunate wins back-to-back weeks. Do you see them kind of, resting on their laurels here a little bit in Seattle? I mean, the New Orleans could kind of maybe come away with a win or at least cover here.
It is that type of matchup where that 4.5 points is very enticing. I do think, it's close. If I have to pick, I think the Saints probably can cover.
I think so.
DeAndre Swift got a little banged up too last week, and outside of him, they have not much of a running game. DJ Moore nursing a groin injury. I do expect him to play. Caleb Williams makes mistakes, capable of making mistakes. The Saints, very tough team to read. Some weeks they play real good. Some weeks they don't. I do think that they just had a rough time against the Patriots. They could be in for a bounce back game. Spencer Rattler looks good. Chris Olave has been pretty consistent. And this game is in Chicago. So it's tough. I'm staying away from it. I'm not betting on it, but
no, not either.
But I do think there is a pretty good chance the Saints cover that forward. It could be a 3-point game either way.
Yeah, so far the games we've talked about, no real weather issues. The Jacksonville game in London looks like some light winds, maybe a little bit of light rain possibly. The New England game, some light winds, so nothing there. This game, a lot of rain maybe pregame, but there could be some wind. We could get some 15 sustained with gusts up to 30. So that could affect some things, maybe some field goals, maybe some errant passes. Maybe Spencer Rattler tries to throw deep to freaking Rashid Shaheed and the ball floats in the air a little bit. We'll see if a gust comes through in the Windy City.
The Bears defense has looked pretty good.
They looked better last week. Yeah. They did look better last week, especially against the run. I thought they looked better, considering their run defense against Bill. I thought Bill was going to have a big game, and he couldn't really find any holes. So, yeah, I'm not feeling great about Kendrick Miller or Kamara here at all. I kind of want to avoid that. I'm looking at the matchup for Shaheed and Olave here, and it's pretty good. I mean, the Bears secondary, I think they're, it's a new coordinator this year. They had Eberflus last year, and they threw him out of the building. They bring in Dennis Allen, who came over from the Saints. So this is a Dennis Allen revenge game here after the Saints fired him. So, yeah, maybe Dennis Allen gets his guys juiced up a little bit in this one. How confident do you feel about Shaheed and Olave in this game?
I think that Olave is a pretty safe volume play. Let me see who has a better matchup. I brought up the Chicago offense first, but now we'll switch over. We'll see who let's see. Shaheed is going against Gordon. Yeah. Olave. Yeah, Shaheed's got a good matchup. So, that weather. Even with the weather, I think Shaheed probably has the best matchup out of all of the pass catchers. for the Saints from what I'm looking at here.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, Chris Moore had a touchdown against them. I don't even know who the hell Chris Moore is. He scored a touchdown, 3 for 46. Debo was cold last week, 4 for 15. McCaffrey in that blown coverage. I mean, you could definitely see Shaheed doing something like that. McCaffrey's a speedster. He was wide open on that one play. So they still have their defensive concerns. I do think their run defense played better. Maybe their pass defense is getting a little bit more, coordinated, but still missing their best corner, Jalen Johnson. He's out for the year. So that was a big blow to their secondary. So yeah, I can see Shaheed having a pretty decent game, and you're probably going to use Olave too, just due to the volume he's probably going to get too.
Well, Olave is going to be the whole key to the offense. They move him all around. He's in the slot. They put him out wide.
Yeah.
I think Kamara is a pretty safe bet to catch 4 or 5 balls. It's going to be one of those ugly games. I think. I don't think there's going to be any big offensive performances on either side. Jamie puts in the chat that he likes an Odunze touchdown. I actually like DJ Moore over Odunze in this game. I've seen a lot of people steaming up Odunze in this game, and that worries me a little bit.
Odunze, dude, like I do the consensus rankings or the rankings for Fantasy Pros, and he gets steamed up. Like he's top 6 this week by the consensus. And like he was like top 7 last week.
I'm not liking it.
The fantasy community is really obsessed with Rome Odunze, where they bump him up. I think they overrate him a little bit.
DJ Moore was having quite a game last week before he injured his groin. And the week before that, in the second half, he looked incredible. He was out there blocking like a beast.
DJ Moore is a great receiver. It's just for whatever reason, Caleb hasn't really been get him going, and they came off the bye. You're right; they used him early, but he got a little bit banged up and he slowed down. But yeah, I could see DJ Moore. We'll see. He didn't practice today, right?
DJ Moore?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's still early in the week. He just got out of the but I don't, from what I've read, I don't see him missing the game.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll pay attention to that. Obviously you want to see him practicing by Friday. If he's not practicing by Friday, then obviously he's probably going to be out. But
yeah, if DJ Moore misses the game, then I like Odunze a little bit better. I might like Luther Burden, to step up in that instance. But if DJ Moore is active, I'm not as high as consensus on Odunze.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets in the end zone, but I don't think he has a big game against the Saints.
Saints kind of like middle of the pack against receivers. Juwan Jennings had a big game against them in week 2, 5 for 89 and a touchdown. Harrison, 5 for 71 and a touchdown. Khalil Shakir had 5 for 69 and a touchdown. And then Kayshon Boutte last week, 5 for 93 and 2. And DeMario, 3 for 7. So maybe Jamie is right. Maybe Odunze and maybe DJ Moore both have good games. It's quite possible. But obviously, if DJ Moore's out, you like Odunze a lot more.
Yes.
But I'm going to, you know what? In this game, I actually looked at it. I thought the total was kind of high.
It is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be an ugly game. I don't see either offense really blowing away.
Yeah, so I'm taking the under in this game, 46. I just think it's a little too high. I could feel like
I like that. That's a good play.
The way the Bears defense played last week, I think maybe they're starting to figure some things out. And maybe the Saints defense gives a little bit of issue to Caleb in the offense, especially if DJ Moore is going to miss some time. But Burden comes in, and Loveland definitely get a step up. What did you think about DeAndre Swift in this game? You weren't too crazy about him, you said?
Well, he got a little banged up last week. He is questionable. He's been limited at practice. I mean, I don't think he's in danger of missing the game, but he did have he had more volume than usual last week. So
Saints been pretty good. 3.7 point yards per carry, 3.7 yards per carry against runners this year.
Yeah,
and overall. Go ahead.
And just going by, I've been a Swift truther, throughout his whole career. So I've generally had him on a lot of my teams, and he usually, when he has a big performance with high volume, the next game isn't as productive. It's just
usually
he's like
He usually has like 3 or 4 really good games.
He's not a workhorse back, and he got workhorse back volume last week. And you're talking about a game in Chicago outside the weather factor wins. I think Monangai. I know you're not a big Monangai fan, Steve, but I think you could see more touches.
Roshan, Jamie, Roshan.
Either one. I think you could see more touches for the entire RB room. I think Monangai it's just going to be one of those dirtied up games. Chicago's going to run the ball more often in this one. The Saints, neither offense is going to blow the top off of each defense. It's in Chicago. Chicago's secondary plays really well at home. So, and that's why I like Olave, because, they move him around. He's in the slot. He's out wide. And I see him getting a lot of catches, a lot of targets, and a lot of catches in this game. He's really him and Kamara are really the only ones I trust. Shaheed, maybe. But I think he have to get the ball in with some space and be a yak monster in order to have a big game. I don't think he gets a 50-yard bomb to the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you never know with Shaheed. He's got the potential. That's how aggressive is Spencer Rattler going to get. Can you see this game? Can Caleb kind of throw 2-3 touchdowns? Could they get a lead? And then Spencer Rattler is throwing the ball left and right, and this game moves over? Yeah, could. I'm going to take the under. You got a little bit of wind, maybe some 30-mile-an-hour gusts, so we'll stick with the under there. Let me
ask you this, Steve. I got a start-sit question for you because I have Caleb Williams and Bo Nix. Who do you like better this week?
I wasn't thrilled with Bo Nix.
I know he hasn't done a damn thing all year, and I wish he would start running.
I don't really like the matchup either. I think the Giants defense has got some juice, especially with they got a lot of talent in the defensive line. Got Burns and freaking Dexter Lawrence, and so yeah, I think they could give him some trouble. I mean, the Jets defense was not playing good at all. Was that just a miraculous turnaround by Aaron Glenn last week? Maybe it was the London effect. I don't know. But yeah, I think I'd go with Caleb. I think I like Caleb.
I have Caleb in there now, but you want to know what the real answer was? Pick up Aaron Rodgers and play him. And I didn't do that.
I was thinking about doing that in a couple of weeks where I have like Fields and some other guy like Sam Darnold. I was like, maybe I should go with Rodgers in some of these leagues, but I only used them where I had buys with Allen and Jackson. That was it. Got another trade question. Another Twitch. Dummy Man Pluto. Should I trade Stafford for Kyler? I have Dart and Kyron. No, definitely don't do that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Kyler's lost.
Yeah, Stafford, you want to keep, brother. You hold on to him. I mean, Jacoby Brissett was making this offense look better, getting down the field more successfully than Kyler. Kyler, we've seen it the last couple of years. He just, he had that one monster fantasy season when he was running a ton. And then, I think he tore his ACL and he kind of really hasn't been the same. But thanks for the question. Appreciate it. Jelly of the Month 231 says, thanks. Should I put a waiver tonight for Browns D versus Miami, which will be pretty windy? Current that would drop is Rams versus Jackson, London, Texas versus Seattle off bye on wire 2. I mean, I thought Browns defense was a good play last week. They only had 1 point against the Steelers. So they kind of let me down in like the 1 or 2 spots I used them. But I think I would hold on to the Rams D here. Or would you rather move to the Texans against Seattle here, Joe?
I do like the Texans against Sam Darnold this week, but I don't know if it's better than the Browns versus Miami. He's currently got the Rams versus the Jaguars. I mean, yeah, if you have to drop a defense, I hate dropping the Rams defense because the Rams defense has been really good. And Trevor Lawrence does make mistakes.
Weather in Cleveland right now. He's mentioned the weather. Some rain looks likely. Rainfall totals of 1/10 of an inch. Of greater interest is the wind. Right now, model shows strong winds pregame and strong winds postgame, but modest during the game, 10 to 15 miles an hour. That could change. Obviously, you never know. The wind could come in. Maybe it could be a little shitty, so we have to pay attention. So, yeah, maybe if the weather is going to be pretty crazy. But I just kind of feel like from a long-term standpoint, like who would you rather have going forward, the Texans or the Rams the rest of the year?
Probably the Texans.
Okay, because I feel like I prefer both those defenses over Cleveland the rest of the year.
I do too. I actually have the Rams and the Texans on a couple of teams. I always carry two defenses, but as you know, Steve, we play with 10-man benches. This could be a short bench, and that's why he's trying to figure out which one to drop this week. So if you don't have to drop the Rams defense or the Texans defense, actually, you only have one defense. If you don't have to drop the defense, I would
just hold on to the Rams.
Yeah. Just hold on.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence took 7 sacks last week. The Rams had a bunch of sacks last week, so they might sack him 5 or 6 times in this game.
The Rams are on a bye next week too, so and the Texans just they already had their bye. So.
True. So you could pivot to the Texans this way. You don't have to make the move. Darnold's playing really good football right now. Did you see the rumor? Well, I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to Seattle, but supposedly Seattle may trade for Devin Achane. Did you hear that?
I did see that.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it unless Clint Kubiak thinks that Achane is gonna be like the thing that unlocks his running system. But I don't know.
Who are they trading? Kenneth Walker, obviously, right?
I don't know what the hell
it would
Walker
be a swap.
Or Walker or Charles, but probably Walker. Yeah,
Walker's the one that with the contract coming towards.
I don't know, man. I would just stick with the Rams. I think they'll have a good game in London. But if you wanted to go to Texans or keep the Browns or pick up the Browns too, if the weather's really shitty, you could do that too. I think all options will be good because you have the Rams next week, so you can move off them if you want. Jamie says, "What did you say?"
I was going to say I like the Texans D against Sam Darnold this week coming off a bye. We know that their defensive line is relentless, and when Sam Darnold gets pressure, we know what type of quarterback Sam Darnold turns into. He's been playing way above his head.
Yeah.
No knock on Donald because he played great all last year, but what happened when defenses put the pressure on him? He folded like a cheap suit. So, and the Texans have been playing playoff style football since they started 0-3. So, I feel like Texans are in they're playing desperation football. CJ Stroud's looked a lot better in his last 2 games.
We'll get to that game. JB says Olave and Shaheed split slot snaps 33 to 37%. The Bears giving up the 3rd most points to the slot. A little nugget there from our producer in the back, Jamie. Brandon Cooks even plays 38% in the slot, so it could be a sneaky deep play. Jamie says he's got Caleb at 7 and Nick's at 17. So there you go, Joe. Correction, Caleb at 6. Jamie says, I heard we could get in Cleveland. Jamie does live in Ohio. I think, do you live in Cleveland? I think he does. 40 to 50 mile an hour wind. So, yeah, definitely pay attention to the weather there in Miami. All right. Anything else on this Saints-Bears game before we move on here?
No, I think we talked about that enough.
Yeah.
What's the next game?
I think we're good. Miami-Cleveland. So we just talked about the weather. Freaking Dylan Gabriel, he missed some passes last week. I thought he made some decent throws too. There were some drops as well, but obviously not a great performance there for Dylan Gabriel overall, losing 23-9. Quinshon Judkins, they had no run game. Pittsburgh just shut him down. Judy had some drops, and the Njoku got hurt in that game. Fannin ended up having a pretty nice game. Isaiah Bond is doing nothing, but this is a pretty good matchup against the Miami defense, who are leaking points pretty much every single week. 33 to New England, 31 to Buffalo, 21 to the Jets, 27 to Carolina, 29 to the Chargers. So what do you think about, obviously you're not using Dylan Gabriel unless you're in a super flex league like I am. I'm actually 6-0 in a super flex league, and my quarterbacks are Justin Fields, Carson Wentz, and Dylan Gabriel. So I'm piecing it together pretty good. But what do you think about the Browns pass catchers? I mean, we know about Fannin, obviously. Njoku's out. We're using Fannin. We talked about him a million times.
Yeah.
So we don't have to talk about him. Fannin, we're really excited about. Shout out to Harold Fannin's mom, Jamie. Once again, we got to bring that up. You got to send me the picture, Jamie, if you allow me to. I'll bring it up during the show every time I mention Harold Fannin.
I can forward it to you if you want, Steve.
Well, we got to get Jamie's permission before we show it on the screen. But anyway, Jerry Jeudy. Do you think are you using Jerry Jeudy or Isaiah Bond in this game? I mean, considering the weather now that we're hearing possible winds.
I like Jeudy. I like Jeudy just based on volume. He going into I didn't take a look at his after last week's game, but going into last week, he was number 1 in routes run in the NFL. He is top 10 first read targets still. And if you're talking about that type of weather, then you're looking at a lower a dot type of passes from Dylan Gabriel. I think you see low A dot anyway, just based on how he's been playing.
Right.
So yeah, I like Jeudy as a volume play. Nice floor, nice high floor volume play. I don't necessarily think he's going to have a ceiling game, but I do think Quinshon Judkins is going to have a massive game on the ground. And I like the over in this. It's 37.5. Miami's defense is awful, and I actually one of my
now if you see like 30-mile-an-hour winds, are you pulling off that over? Sustain, sustain anything above like 20-mile-an-hour sustain with 30, 40 gusts. Are you gonna stick with it?
I think I like the over. Yeah,
I
do.
All right.
Miami has played some good games. As bad as their record shows, and A-Chain probably has a good game, especially if the weather is bad. But one of my bold, I did put down one bold prop bet, and I actually think this guy gets involved in the passing game a little bit, and I like him for an anytime touchdown at plus 450 odds. That's Jerome Ford. I kind of think he's a sneaky prop bet this week.
Jerome Ford was being used a little bit. Seemed like a little bit more last week, right?
Yeah, I just think that if Miami is going to find a way to score, Jalen Waddle has been good lately. A-Chain is always a threat to get to score, to get in the end zone. I think Miami's offense is being underestimated in this game because of how well Cleveland's defense has been, especially at home, which is why I like the over. Excuse me, the over is only 37.5 points.
Yeah.
So I think Miami can score some points. I think it could lead to some targets for Jerome Ford. And I like Jeudy, I like Fannin, and I like Jerome Ford. Those are the three Cleveland Brown guys I like. I'm not necessarily put Ford in a fantasy lineup, but he's definitely an interesting prop bet.
Yeah, 5 catches for 13 yards last week, had 33 snaps, 2 carries for 17 yards against Pittsburgh. For Jerome Ford. Yeah, but Miami is playing tough. Again, the weather's crazy. A little, have to be kind of nuts to pull off, but if the weather is fair, we don't see serious winds. I kind of like that as a sneaky over as well. I'm kind of with you there. What I wanted to mention was Jamie obviously mentioned start Fannin regardless because of his A-dot. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Quinshon Judkins should have a big bounce back game here. Great matchup against Miami's run defense. So you feel pretty confident about him. Joe mentioned Jerome Ford, so both running backs possibly. Jeudy, If the weather's not crazy, I don't mind using him. But if the weather's crazy, I'm probably not going to use him. Isaiah Bond, same thing. Like unless I'm truly desperate, not using Isaiah Bond. On the other side, you feel good about Waddle. You got to get him in your lineup regardless. Achane, obviously. What about Darren Waller? Obviously he was kind of a late pickup. And there's been so many good tight ends this year. It's kind of hard to decide whether to start him or not. What kind of game do you see him having this week?
I'm gonna take a look at the tight end. How Cleveland plays the tight end. Let's see. They give up 14 points per game to the tight end. They rank
about middle of the pack,
18th, about middle of the pack. So, I mean, he could get in the end zone. I always view Waller as tight end dependent regardless. I don't necessarily see him getting
touchdown dependent. Yeah, he's been scoring every single week, so why can't he keep it rolling, right?
Yeah, I think he might be good for a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Actually, if I was going to bet on this game, I'd probably would take the Browns at home -1.5. The total 37.5. I wasn't really thinking about that, but again, the weather is not going to be a huge factor. I think this is, I think it's a little bit of a sneaky over here. And then you probably want to get Judy and, maybe Isaiah Bond maybe in your lineups as well. But Judkins, again, he's going to have a big game. Tua, I have him in the super right now, but I'm definitely going to try to move off him. Like if Mac Jones is going to start this week, I'm going to go with Mac Jones over Tua. What do you like there? I mean, I don't know if I can go with Tua against Cleveland in this weather. There's no way in a big money league like that.
Those are your options, Tua and Mac Jones?
Pretty much, yeah. I missed out on Rodgers by $1, so I got screwed on that.
What did you put in for a bid? What was your bid amount?
20. He went for 21, but the guy didn't. Yeah. I'm an Allen owner, and people have been playing without Jackson for a while, so I was like, I don't need to go crazy, and I was right there. I mean, I missed by $1. I got him in a bunch of other leagues for like the same thing. It was just that league I missed him by $1.
Nah, I would have if I needed to use Aaron Rodgers this week, I was bidding in the 60s, and I don't care if it's over by like $40.
Yeah,
I know that you're way aggressive with your bids though, so you probably have like $200 left.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I'm not that. I'm still, for the most part, I have some teams down in that range, but for the most part, I'm somewhere between 500 and 700 still. So
yeah, some leagues I have that because I've whiffed on guys, but a lot of my teams I'll have like 200, 300. I want to see. Let me tell you who's out there. Quarterback. Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, and Cam Ward. I can't pick up Bryce because they're all cut this week. Flacco, I guess, was cut this week by somebody. So I can't pick him up. But Carson Wentz, Mac Jones, and Cam Ward. Maybe Carson Wentz against Philly. Maybe I'll go that direction. I don't know. I don't know my Mac Jones with Kittle coming back. It's not terrible. I mean, I know Atlanta's defense is playing better, but all right, enough about my teams. Jamie says never bet on the Browns to win. Yeah, he's right about that actually. Yeah, that's right. I'm saying I said if I was gonna bet, I'm not gonna bet on them, but if I was gonna,
I'm kind of leaning Miami this game. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
I mean, if they don't win this game, they lose to the Browns and Dylan Gabriel. I mean, McDaniel might be done, right?
That's what I'm saying. I think McDaniel might live to see another week.
And then you got Tua, like throwing shots at his coach about the meetings. So it's ugly in there in Miami. It's going to be a breakup like the Phoenix Suns, that Durant, Beal, Booker team, Waddle and freaking Tua and Tyreek. They're going to break this team up at the end of the year. And McDaniels is probably going to get canned as well. All right, let's move on to the next game. I think we covered enough in this game. Let's talk about Carolina and the Jets. Jets are underdogs at home, +1.5. Coming off that disastrous game in London where they couldn't do absolutely shit, -10 passing yards because Field took 97 sacks. Total is 42, 41.5, depending on where you're looking at. Chuba Hubbard, limited practice this week. It sounds like he's going to come back. Are you selling high on Rico Dowdle?
I'm gonna say yes. I think you can wait another week. But yeah, I'd be looking to flip Rico for sure.
I'm
I
with
do.
you. I'm with you.
I do think that if after this week, the Jets is still, their defense is okay, but if Rico gets more than if Chuba plays, I still, if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I'm running Rico. I'm going with him, like, I don't want to say 100%, but he is going to be the number one running back this week as well. And so that's why I say you can hold him for one more week, and I would absolutely start him. Definitely can't bench him, just because Chuba's playing. But eventually, I do think it's going to close. The gap's going to close. Rico's going to be going against tougher defenses. There's going to be more film for defenses to prepare. They're going to figure out how to neutralize him being the center point of the offense. Ted McMillan is also coming on. He's our rookie receivers flourish as the season goes on. So
yeah.
And eventually that's going to be a committee approach where it's going to give you a headache trying to figure out which running back to play, and they're both going to cannibalize each other's sailing. So yeah, I'm selling high on Rico Dowdle. Redraft for sure. Even in Dynasty, I mean, if you can get a good return in Dynasty, I would do it too. As much as I like Rico, I've always been a fan of Rico Dowdle. Yeah. I have him on every zero RB build that I did this year, or close to, or hero with, where I took a running back early and then I ignored it till like round 9. I do have some Dowdle. He's come in handy. I've played him the last couple of weeks. I'm going to play him again this week. But yeah, I'm selling high on Rico.
Okay. Jets have been pretty strong against fantasy receivers, top 10, 7th overall. Only one 100-yard receiver this whole season, and it was freaking Ryan Flournoy, of all people. Been doing pretty good on number one receivers. Cortland Sutton just had 1 catch for 17 yards last week. George Pickens only had 2 catches for 57 yards, but did score. Tyreek went for 6 for 67. Abuka 6 for 85. Sterling Shepard 4 for 80. So, Ted, obviously you're throwing him out there. I don't know if you're expecting huge things here against the Jets and Sauce Gardner. But you're throwing him out there. Like you said, Joe, he's, 2 touchdowns last week. He could definitely have a similar type game where maybe doesn't get a lot of yardage, but gets into the end zone once or maybe twice. We'll see about Chuba. We want to pay attention to that. Jatavian Sanders looks like he's going to be coming back this week. He's missed the last, 2 or 3 weeks. He's shown flashes, but he's kind of been inconsistent. Obviously, unless you're truly, truly desperate, you don't want to be using him. But somebody to watch for sure. And also Jalen Coker sounds like he's going to come back and play this week. So that should help the offense a little bit. Are you going to use Coker in this game? Are you thinking about using Coker? I may have to use him in like 1 or 2 spots.
I think I'm taking the wait, I got to see it first approach with Coker. I know you like him. I know you like him a lot. I know Joey Brown likes him a lot too. So maybe I should be on board more so. But I want to see it first before I put him in my lineups.
Yeah, Jamie, that was us. You asked us the other night about Gibbs. You got him for $233. Nice. Beautiful. In the Guillotine League. He also says Rico Dowdle is the perfect dynasty sell to get a second rounder off those big games. I do think, at the very least, it's going to be a 50-50 with him and Chuba. So obviously his value is going to take a hit. Bryce Young, not a bad matchup for him. If you have to use him, I don't feel terrible about it. Justin Fields, I think I have him ranked. I ranked him pretty low last week. I think I have him ranked 17th this week. The consensus, I think, was like 14th or 15th, and I could probably even move him down maybe a little bit more. I just don't know. There's no Garrett Wilson. You're throwing a Josh Reynolds. Freaking, I don't know what Lazard's deal is. Arian Smith and freaking who the hell is the other?
Johnson.
Tyler Johnson. I mean, I don't know, man. Their receivers are so piteous. So it's gonna be a lot of Mason Taylor. Fields already mentioned that he picked up an injury in the Dolphins game that he hurt his leg, and that's why he kind of hasn't been running as much. So he says he's feeling better this week. So I don't know how much he's going to be even running in this game. Breece Hall. I didn't throw him a pass last week, so I don't really feel great about the Jets. I actually like the under in this game. 42. I'm going to take the under in this game between the Panthers and the Jets. What do you think?
I think Breece Hall is going to get all the volume this game. They have to target him in the passing game. They have no other choice this week.
Yeah,
he's good, and he's going to run the ball. I think maybe you could see Isaiah Davis eat up some carries this week as well, because I do think Breece is going to be running routes in this game. It's just there's no other way around it. I mean, you're not going to rely on Josh Reynolds and the other two wide receivers to carry the load. I'm with you. I think probably lean on the under. Carolina is especially the last 2 weeks they've been running the ball. I do think they continue to do that. Both of these teams are all about clock management and dirtying up the game, so to speak. But I like Breece Hall as a DFS play this week. DFS and in your lineup. I'm pretty confident in Breece Hall this week, getting the job done for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, he should catch a lot of balls this week, especially if Fields is, he's getting critiqued for holding on the ball too long. I know he was talking about being more aggressive this week, but getting the ball out, hopefully he watched Flacco and these guys getting the ball out. Hopefully Tenor and Strang get some more design passes, because the coaching has been hideous as well. But yeah, he should catch 4, 5, 6 balls in this game. He should have over 100 total yards. So yeah, I feel pretty good about Breece. Fields, I just think his upside is capped now without Wilson, but it could still get you 20 fantasy points. That's kind of what I think his cap is. I don't see a huge game. He has 3 games with 30 points in fantasy, but then he has 2 games with under 6. But I think in this game, I think he can give you 20 points. And Mason Taylor should catch 4, 5, 6 balls. Again, Panthers, one of the worst, second to worst against tight ends. Maybe he goes for 40, 50 yards. His prop, actually, I'm going to take over 4.5 catches. That's plus money, plus 120. And then over 41.5 receiving yards. I'm going to take that as well. I think you like that too, right, Joe?
Yeah, I do. I think he's a good bet to get 10 targets this week.
Yeah, I agree. With their no-name receivers, I'm a Jet fan. I can't even tell you who their freaking receivers are. I mean, it's just absolutely hideous. All right, I think we're pretty much done with that game, right? Nothing else of note there. Let's talk about Philly and Minnesota. Pretty good game here. Minnesota coming off the bye. Philly struggling past 2 weeks, losing to Denver, losing to the Giants. I think they're having problems with their offensive coordinator. 2 years ago, they had an issue with that. And they fired the guy. They bring in Kellen Moore. He kind of helped things out. And I think you're kind of seeing that, rear its ugly head again with the coordinator stuff. Lack of creativity in the offense a little bit. I know their offensive line's not blocking as well either. Saquon's not able to break off big runs, but do you think Minnesota here, probably Carson Wentz we're looking at? I know McCarthy's practicing, but it looks like it's going to be Carson Wentz again, who's played pretty, he's been doing a decent job out there. This is a revenge game for Carson Wentz as well. Do you see Minnesota winning the game here against Philly, or do you think Philly gets off the schneid here after back-to-back losses?
No, I think Philly gives them a beating, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
Because I think Minnesota has been awful against the run. They give up chunk plays. looking at it right now. They are 19th in the NFL against the run. 500. They've given up 558 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and I just think that Philadelphia needs to get back to what they were doing to win football games. I mentioned it earlier. I'm in on Saquon rest of season. I think that they've been kind of capping his usage early on, so to keep him fresh for when games mean more. They're on a 2-game losing streak. They're coming off a bye. I like his prop bet. I teased it up a little bit, and I went 80 plus rushing yards at plus 129.
I think it's a good call, man. Look at the screen. We got Bijan going for $143. Algier went for 76. Gainwell went for 99. We remember that game. That was the game Warren was out. That was the London game, or the Ireland game, I think. And then Judkins went for $110. So you might be right, man. This could be a really good spot for Saquon here.
And I just think that if Saquon has that type of game, the pressure is going to come off of Jalen Hurts. Things are going to open up downfield. I do know, we do know Minnesota's defense is good, but this is going to be a get-right game for Philadelphia. I think that they win pretty easily.
I mean, I could see it. I definitely see Carson Wentz kind of struggling here, and then it kind of gives them the green light to go back to McCarthy. That's quite possible, but you do have Justin Jefferson, you do have Addison, you do have Hockenson, and Brian Flores is a good coordinator. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind the call there. I could definitely see the Philly coming out with a bounce back game. Saquon, AJ Brown, Devonta, Jalen Hurts getting off the schneid here, bouncing back. Obviously, you're using Hurts. You're going to use Saquon. What do you think about the receivers here, AJ Brown and Devonta Smith in this game?
I don't think. I mean, I say AJ Brown has a better performance than Devonta Smith, but I think you're going to see Dallas Goedert continue to get involved, so it kind of caps both of their upside. Plus, I'm
big Saquon game too.
I'm in on the Saquon game. Yeah. AJ Brown could probably, if I had to give lines, I would say AJ Brown probably does like a 5 for 82. I could see Devonta Smith going for like 3 for 47. Goddard maybe 5 for 65, and then Saquon doing everything else.
Yeah, Goddard's been great this year, man. Like, he's been very, very steady. So you feel pretty good about him. Vikings 22 against tight end, so not that great. Drew Sample scored a touchdown on him. Njoku had 6 for 67. Fannin scored a touchdown against them as well. So maybe Goddard gets into the end zone again here. On the other side, Justin Jefferson, Addison. Obviously, you're using these guys, but do you think one of these guys has a big time game here against Philly?
I could see. I think both get a lot of garbage second half points. I like Addison's anytime touchdown at plus 220. He's scored a touchdown in a good chunk of the games he's played in his NFL career. I think you're going to see more of the same trends. Like Justin Jefferson will have his volume. He'll have like 7 catches, 7 to 10 catches for 100 yards. But if anyone's getting in the end zone, I'm banking on Addison. But I do think that they get quite a bit of garbage points in the second half.
Yeah, based on and then Eagles are 17th against receivers. Lamb had 110 against them. Nakua had 112. Abuka had 101. Wandale had 84 yards and a touchdown as well. Yeah, so Jefferson, obviously, 100 yards and a touchdown. Very, very possible, considering Justin Jefferson, one of the best receivers in the league. How about TJ Hockenson? Are you going to be using him in this game?
I'm not particularly betting on him. I don't have any shares, so I can't say I'm going to put him in a lineup.
Yeah,
but
so like I have him not a lot of spots. And like I have Fannin in a lot of spots. So like sometimes I just like to mix these guys in into some of my lineups just to get a little different, you know, and like, like 'cause if I only have like one or two of these guys, sometimes I'll just throw them in there because they're kind of relatively close. Sometimes you never know, just because I don't want to have the same guy in almost every lineup, you know. So in that case, I'll use some TJ Hawkinson this week.
Philadelphia is third against tight ends in the
Yeah,
league.
not a great matchup. Kelsey 4 for 61. Ferguson didn't do much, 5 for 23. Ingram had 4 for 33 and a touchdown. Theo Johnson last week 2 for 27. So yeah, you don't expect a ton.
What about Jordan Mason? You happy to put him back in your lineup after the bye week?
Yeah, I feel
think
good about Mason.
Yeah, I think he has a decent game.
Jamie
too.
brings it up. All signs pointing to a Mason touchdown. Vikes hit on 75% on goal line runs, and Eagles giving up a rush TD on every carry inside their 5. Mason gonna eat.
They got to get down there, though. That they will get down there. That's probably a decent bet. I like that call, Jamie.
Yeah, he may not have a ton of yards, but yeah, I could see him getting in the end zone. Where are the Eagles against running backs? They are, yeah, they're not. I mean, they haven't been good against the run. No. Not at all. Kyron Williams, 4.7 yards per carry. Blake Corum, 6.6 yards per carry. Bucky, 4.2 yards per carry. Cam Scatabo tore him up for 19 and 98. So this could be I feel, what I like too about running backs coming off a bye? Their legs are fresh. They're healthier, so like, I just feel like they have a little bit more juice. So I think Mason, he was getting a little bit dinged up a little bit. He's always kind of like that. I think, I like Mason this week a good amount. Definitely throwing him in back all my lineups. Jordan Mason. All right. No picks this game. I don't have any picks in this game. You actually like the Eagles. My bad. You're taking them officially, right?
Yeah, I like the Eagles.
All right. Total is 44. You're going to take the over there probably too, right?
Yeah, I think so, because I would like to say that Minnesota is going to run the ball, but I think that it's going to end up they're going to be forced to pass in the second half. Okay.
All right, couple more 1:00 games. Actually, one more 1:00 game before we move into the 4:00 games. Vegas at Kansas City, the last of the 1:00s. The Chiefs have won the past 2 matchups, but they've been pretty close, 19-17 and 27-20. The Raiders actually did beat them, I think, with Aiden O'Connell back in 2023, 20-14. But Chiefs have won 8 of the last 10 matchups. The Raiders have actually covered 6 of the last 10. The game has gone over 7 of the last 10. Geno, obviously, he's been a hot mess. Brock Bowers is going to be out once again. Jacoby Myers, I know he's a little bit questionable. We saw Jack Beck get more usage last week. Dante Thornton, who the Raiders thought was Randy Moss, I think he played 4% of the snaps. So they gave Betch a chance. And if Myers is going to be out, we say, Betch may get a lot of looks in this game. Possibly could be their number one receiver out there, or Trey Tucker. I don't know how good you feel about that. Do you feel good about any of the Raiders besides Genty in this game?
I don't mind some Trey Tucker, but I'm leaning this game to go under. It's in Kansas City. Kansas City's D plays pretty strong at home.
Yeah.
Genty's probably, I'm not sitting Genty, but he probably struggles a little bit, and especially if Kansas City, I want to say I kind of think Kansas City might cover. I'm not betting it, but
yeah,
I could see Kansas City winning this game pretty easily, keeping it low scoring, not necessarily on Isaiah Pacheco or all that much of the running game. Him and Kareem Hunt split everything down the middle. Rashad Smith really doesn't get it. He gets his 3 to 4 looks every game in the passing game. I think Rashee Rice isn't going to be eased in. He wasn't hurt. He's I think he comes in and immediately has a good game. I think he makes Xavier Worthy better as well. And yeah, I mean, well, the under and yeah, that's what is it, -12? That is a lot of points.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm definitely not betting it. I'm not betting the spread anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah, if I'm taking anybody, it's going to be the Chiefs, but you're not going to
Yeah.
be too crazy on it. A couple questions here in the chat, and then we'll get back to this game. David Yoon, 1952 says trade Monty and Keenan for Derrick Henry. Yeah, I'm doing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we just saw Keenan get less snaps last week, even with QJ out. So that was a little bit weird. Joe and I talked about the other night. Keenan usually kind of starts out hot, then he dies out a little bit. He did that last year with the Bears. We could see that with the Chargers. Monty's playing behind Gibbs. Yeah, go get Derrick Henry 100%. Thanks for the question, man.
Yeah, Lad McConkey is. Oh, go ahead. See, tell him to hit the like button. I haven't seen that guy's name yet before.
Yeah, no, new guy there. You can keep talking. I'm gonna bring up the next question here. Daniel GWIC says, should I trade Ferguson and Mason for McBride? No.
That's close.
If you're giving up a pretty good solid starting running back. I know Aaron Jones is coming back though. That's true.
And CD Lamb is coming back. Not that that's going to kill Ferguson, but it's definitely going to hurt his ceiling.
Yeah, I still don't think I want to do it though, because I think Ferguson will be good enough, and you're going to lose out on Mason, and it's hard to lose a good running back like that in a good system.
Yeah, I got to see the running back room before I sign off on that. But
yeah, give us the rest of your team, Daniel, if you can. We'll give you a little bit more context on that. But yeah, appreciate you all joining us tonight, Joe and I. You can follow Joe at Points by Hand Carlton without the O. I don't know why our handles aren't up here, but I'm at Fantasy Savvy. I'll put her along the bottom there in a little bit. But this kind of, we're going through, this is our first preview show, and this not only helps you guys, but it helps us get ready for the week as well as we go through everything here. Smitty says start two running backs, Monty, White, and Hall. We already know we're going Breece Hall, but who are we going with the other one out of Monty and Rashid White?
Rashad, I'm leaning Rashad White here just based on volume.
Yeah, me too.
And when we get to the Detroit game, I'll talk about why I'm not in on Monty this week. I mean, he still could find the end zone, but we'll get into that when we get to that game.
Daniel says I have Judkins, Taylor, and Achane, so he's pretty stacked at running back.
Yeah, I think I would make that trade then. If those are your three running backs, then I would make that trade.
Yeah, always ask for something a little bit more. See if you could throw in something else before you make the deal. And if he says no, you could always take the original deal.
Yeah.
Guest says 3 weeks ago I traded JSN and Amika for Jamar Chase and Nico. I thought it was a bad trade at first until today. What do you think of this trade?
I remember this question because he asked it in your show, then he asked it on my show. This guy was going, and then I was listening to somebody else, and he was asking this question everywhere, and I remember chiming in the chat. I was in the chat with him, and I was like, "That's a good trade. Don't think that's a bad trade." I think you tear up, even though JSN's been an absolute monster this year and Emeka too. But, eventually Mike Evans was coming back and it was the perfect time to buy low on Jamar Chase and Nico Collins, both because that was before CJ Stroud's 4-touchdown game. Yeah, that was a good trade.
Yeah, I like it as well. By the way, there it is. Follow Joe at Points by Hand Carlton. So that's right there, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, there you go. And then you can follow me at Fantasy Savvy. All right.
Appreciate all the follows, and I follow back too.
Yeah, there's Joe's one more time. But yeah, hit the like button if you guys are a new subscriber. Well, make sure you subscribe. If you're a new listener, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back for a lot more content the rest of the year, picking his channel back up. We did a lot in the offseason, took a little bit of a break, doing some face-off stuff, got busy, but we're back rolling again. All right, back into the game. We were talking about Raiders, Chiefs. So we like Genty, possibly Trey Tucker and Jack Betch if Jacoby Myers is out. Michael Mayer, also not a bad play at tight end if you're desperate. Not a bad option there. You expect the Raiders to play keep up here and probably have to throw a lot. And David did just subscribe, so I appreciate that, David. But on the Chiefs side of the ball, the running backs are all mixing in. Pacheco, Hunt. You don't really want to use any of these guys. But if you have to use one of them, like that one team we have Bashard Smith and Hunt. Like the one week we started Smith, and then Hunt scored, and then last week started Hunt, and Hunt didn't do shit. Smith didn't do shit either. But, if you had to pick one of them to have a good game here, take a guess. Who do you think it is? I guess Pacheco, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Who's more likely to be the one that gets the carries to seal the game away?
Pacheco, I would say.
You think? I think it's a split. I think it's split any way you look at it. But
yeah, he changes it up. But I think Pacheco's the guy they want.
If Pacheco's rolling, he'll it'll be a hot hand approach, I suppose.
Yeah. Start Hurts or Fields this week from Daniel?
Hurts.
Yeah, I'm going Hurts as well. All right. Rashee Rice coming back. Joe already said throw him in your lineup. You waited freaking 6 weeks. What are you gonna do? Sit him? Fucking get him in your lineups. Hollywood Brown, 2 touchdowns last week. Thornton kind of took a step back, only played 30% of the snaps. I don't feel bad about Hollywood Brown. He definitely could score. Yeah, if you have to use him, obviously, Rice hurts his value. Worthy you're going to use in this matchup. It's going to be him and Rice probably, the rest of the way contributing the most. But, honestly, Hollywood, man, like, he might not be terrible. He'll probably be a little bit spotty, but I think you hold on to him. And in certain matchups, you could use him like in more of shootout games. This might not be the total matchup you want to use him in. And then what do you think about Travis Kelce in this game, Joe?
I think that his usage is going to start to go down a little bit. He's always a threat to score a touchdown, so you can't rule that out. But I think he's going to become more touchdown dependent. Last week I was talking about how consistent he's been. 6, 5, so anywhere between 5 to 7 catches per game, around 6 to 9 targets per game. It's been a constant. And he's been good, but this is the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're playing for a Super Bowl. So I could see them wanting to keep old man Kelce fresh. And True. Rashee Rice he's back. That's Mahomes' favorite target. Mm-hmm. Hollywood Brown's still in the mix. Tyquan Thornton's probably going to take a big hit, but he's still in the mix. He still can eat up a few targets.
I would say hold on to him if you can, but if you have to let him go, you're not going to feel terrible about it.
Right, but I do think Kelce's usage is going to take a slight ding with Rashee Rice's return.
Yeah, Raiders top 10 against tight ends. Warren had a touchdown against them in week 1. But it's Tyler Warren. Chico Quanco, decent game last week. And their other tight end, David Martin Robinson, caught a touchdown. So back-to-back weeks allowing a touchdown. So maybe Kelce does get into the ends of this week. But, yeah, maybe, it's possible. Maybe we start seeing a little bit more Noah Gray, kind of like what we did last year. Noah Gray is a pretty capable player. He kind of seems like the successor of Kelce as well. I'm sure they'll draft another tight end. And then Mahomes, man, he's been absolutely money. This was the best value you got on Mahomes. And now he's getting his guy back. Reed is like dialing it up. The play calling against the Lions last week, he had that freaking defense, just absolutely confused. There was like 3 or 4 just layup touchdowns in the red zone. So yeah, Chiefs starting to look really dangerous. Honestly, if I had to say, they probably look like maybe the best team in the NFL the way they played last week against the Lions. What do you think about that, Joe?
I hate to say it, but I think I have to agree with you. They do look very good. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is having one hell of a year so far. Yeah. And it's only going to get better. and got his best weapon.
I mean,
back.
they were coming off a loss against Jacksonville, so they were probably pissed off. But the NFL changed, but I think they looked really, really, really dynamic last week, and now they're getting Rice back. All right, Rascal 0423 says Debo or Olave full PPR. Now Debo didn't practice today, so I think right now you're going Olave. But if Debo is going to be in the lineup, it's a really good matchup against Dallas. So if Debo's healthy, he's ready to go. Do you think he's going to play? But what are you doing there?
Is McLaurin?
I don't think he's playing either. He didn't practice again either.
I do really like Olave this week. Debo is still. I mean, Debo's wide receiver 8, right? So that's
he didn't do anything last week though. That was kind of surprising. I thought he had a better game.
Yeah, I think I might give a slight edge to Olave.
Yeah.
If
Debo comes back, practices tomorrow, they say he wasn't limited, he's full practice, you're still going to go Olave?
That's really close. Yeah, I think Olave's a safer play.
All right, I think I would go Debo against Dallas. 55 total, dude. 55 total.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a high freaking total. But I mean, if he could re-injure himself in the game. Maybe he's not fully healthy. So yeah, I mean, if you want to go Olave, I don't hate it.
Olave is a safer floor play. Debo definitely bringing out the ceiling to the table. Depends on which way you want to go there.
John Paul says, I just got offered Devontae for Brees and Fannin. I'm really strong at running back. Please help. We are here, bro, to help you out. What do you think here?
I would try to get more. What's your tight end room look like? Are you relying on Fannin right now? We know you're strong at running back.
So you don't really need Brees
if
you're strong at running back.
Right.
So maybe that's not the right trade for you. Maybe I don't know what the right trade. Maybe you probably need a tight end. Oh, he's got Ferguson too, he says.
Okay. Yeah, so and obviously you need wide receiver help. If this is gonna
the other way around, my bad. Yeah.
If this makes your lineup stronger overall, then I would make the trade. But I would try to.
Who are the rest of your running backs, John Paul? I know you said you're strong, but give them to us. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind doing it. All right, let us know who your running backs are. We're going to move on to the next game here. It's going to be the 4 o'clocks now. Giants versus Denver. Denver, obviously we all watched the horror game last week. Knicks did not look good. Sutton got shut down. The running game couldn't do anything. Dobbins was having a pretty good season up into that game. Evan Ingram, he's starting to pick it up a little bit. The rest of the Broncos receivers aren't doing anything. Mims, Franklin's been dust. They haven't really baked in Pat Bryant yet. I think they should bake in Pat Bryant. I've seen some good flashes from him. He's a great run blocker too. So that remains to be seen. But, Peyton, he still could. And then RJ Harvey too. I mean, these two guys may start to get baked in a little bit more as the season goes on. But right now you cannot use them. We're not thrilled with Knicks. The Giants defense has kind of been up and down, but we don't really see a big game from him here. Talking about him a little bit earlier when Joe had the Caleb versus Knicks question. And I mean, how do you feel about J.K. Dobbins and Cortland Sutton in this game?
I always like Cortland Sutton. He's the one constant on that Denver offense. He's been pretty consistent all year. I think he only had one bad game so far. So definitely confident in Sutton. What's this, a -7? I think the Giants cover in this game. I think this game stays pretty close. I'm not necessarily going to say the Giants are going to win, even though I did take them in my pick'em pool. I actually mixed it up. I do 2 pick'em pools. I took the Giants in one, Denver in the other. I do that a lot when I think it's fair to
It's
be
close.
that.
This
that
game's close. Yeah.
But I do, if you're getting 7 points, I like the Giants side there. J.K. Dobbins, I feel like they don't stick with him. Like when he's doing good, they should just keep riding him, and they don't. Sean Payton likes to change his game plan. Like almost seems like every quarter he's got a different game plan. Like he doesn't stick with something that's working, and I think that's why Denver doesn't really blow teams away, and it's kind of aggravating because, he kind of shoots himself in the foot a lot. And,
this looks like a good matchup on paper for Dobbins, though. Giants 22nd against backs. They did shut down Saquon 12 for 58, but it's still 4.8 yards per carry. But Hampton went off against them for 100. Javonte had 97 yards. Krosky Merritt had 82 yards and a touchdown. So it's a pretty good matchup. Should be a pretty decent game script where he's not going to get game scripted out too. So, maybe not a ton of yards, but I think he can get into the end zone and get like 50, 60 yards here, right?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I guess I can get on board with that. I mean, I just don't think he has a ceiling.
No, his ceiling he's always going to be like he's always going to be around like the 50, 60 yard mark, something like that, and like one touchdown, something like that.
He's a good RB2.
Yeah, and then once in a while he'll have like a monster game out of nowhere.
So we got more context from John Paul, and just looking at his roster up and down, I don't think I would make this trade. I think I'm okay with Sutton, Waddle, and BTJ there, and I think having Genty and Jacobs at running back is solid. But you want that
depth. You want that depth.
Yeah. You want the depth, and there's legit rumors surrounding Breece Hall being moved to the Chiefs. So, or at least move somewhere. He is being shopped. Teams are calling on him, and dude, imagine if he lands on the Chiefs.
That'd be ridiculous.
That's probably why
the Jets better get a really freaking good deal to move him to the Chiefs, because the Chiefs, man, I remember that game a couple of years ago. We should have beat the Chiefs. They got every call in the book. It really pissed me off. So. They better get a hell of a deal. But yeah, that'd be unbelievable. So maybe stay put, man. Like I agree with Joe there. You got Genty and Jacobs, which is solid, but you want to keep that depth, and you already have 3 really good receivers. So I would stay put, I think. Jamie says, I think getting Adams straight up for Breece rest of the season is about even. I think so too.
You want to hang on to Fannin too, because if Njoku's injury is more serious, or he ends up getting moved,
Fannon's a good piece.
If he ends up getting moved, Fannin could be a league winner at tight end if he's got all that volume to himself.
I don't blame you, John Paul. I wish I could be confident in Breece, but it's hard with the Jets offense. But they got to get their head out of their ass after last week and get him more involved in the passing game. So at the very least, his floor should be safe. He should give you 10, 15 points. So I think you're going to get at least that from him. So it should be all right. Got a handle onto my stepson. I have him top 10 rest of the year.
He's talking about Fannin.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Yeah, Jamie, I'm going to use the picture, by the way. I'm going to throw it in the mix every once in a while. No problem, John Paul. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, man. We'll be back for more, but appreciate your questions. All right, back to the Giants, Denver. Sutton, to your point, Joe. Good matchup here for him. 77 yards against Debo. 112 for CeeDee Lamb. Tyquan Thornton had 71 yards and a touchdown. Quentin Johnson, 98 yards and a touchdown. Shaheed, 114 yards and a touchdown. Brown, 80 yards. So, everybody is probably going to be off Sutton in DFS. He's probably going to be a good play. Probably not that popular. I haven't looked at the percentages yet. This is not really a DFS show. Maybe we'll have some time for that as the season goes on. Maybe in November we'll start bringing in some DFS shows. But, yeah, it shouldn't be highly owned in DFS. I think he's going to have a bounce-back game. I'm with you there, Joe. How about Evan Ingram? He's starting to come on a little bit here.
I like it.
The Jets have always sucked. I mean, not the Jets. My bad. I thought they were playing the Jets. They played the Jets last week. But Ingram's been hotter the past couple of weeks. You said you like it?
I definitely like Ingram. If they stuck with J.K. Dobbins, Sutton, and Ingram this whole game, I would say they cover the 7 points.
Right.
And if you want to throw in the revenge,
kind of condense it down a little bit.
If you want to throw in the revenge game narrative here to going against the Giants, you know, the organization.
I don't know if he could have revenge against the Giants. The Giants were, he was with Parcells. They were very, very good to them. So maybe he's. I would think he's happy with the Giants, but maybe, you never know. Maybe he's got some qualms. Who the hell knows? I did hear that they are honoring the Peyton Manning team that won a Super Bowl, so legends are going to be in the house. I don't know if that gives them a little extra oomph and gusto. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
for this game.
And they played like absolute shit last week. They're going to want to play a lot better this week.
Demarius Thomas is being honored pregame. And
wow!
This is going to be it's going to be a lot of emotions in that building. So,
Marius Thomas taking it to the house against the Steelers. Tim Tebow, one of the most famous plays. You'll never forget that play.
I won a big bet. I bet with a friend of mine. We were actually playing in a poker tournament at Foxwoods, and
awesome. You were watching the game at Foxwoods.
We were in a poker tournament. Like we were playing in a poker tournament.
Was the game on in the background?
Yeah, I had the game. I had the screen right in front of me. And I remember getting up out of my seat and going, "Yeah, buddy." I was like, "You
took the Broncos?"
I took the Broncos to win, and we bet the buy-in for the tournament. Which I believe was $600.
Sweet. You must have been chilling hard that night.
I remember getting up on the seat and I remember him going, "It's such bullshit. It's such bullshit."
Oh man, dude! Nobody. You know what's funny? Nobody picked Denver, and I like Denver in that game too because I was rooting for Tebow. Nobody was freaking rooting for Denver, and everybody was picking Pittsburgh. They had kicked their fucking ass. They were like 14-point favorites in that game. I think if I remember correctly, it was a huge freaking spread. Yeah, that's great, man. Those are always good times and good memories, especially when you're chilling in Foxwoods, fucking watching the game, chilling, probably smoking. Could you smoke in the casino at that time or no?
No, but I made my own. I used to make my own pot brownies back then. So there was no dispensaries yet.
Dude, the first time I had a pop brownie, I was at Rutgers University at my friend's college campus. We went out to get some liquor, and all of a sudden I was bending over to pick up like a 40 or whatever, and I fucking got ripped all of a sudden. I was high for like 7 hours. It was fucking crazy. I think he put like all the THC and fucking weed in my brownie. I don't know. I was fucking ripped. All right. Denver side of the ball, I think we got covered. How about Jackson Dart here? He's been really, really good in fantasy. His rushing prop keeps hitting every single week. I think it's like around the 30s. I didn't see what it was this week, but I don't really like this matchup here. I just feel like Denver may really do a pretty good job on him. But, what do you think his floor here is in fantasy here? How many points do you think he's going to get you?
I like his floor. I think if I had to make a realistic prediction, I say gets around 17 points. I don't see him going higher than that. I think that he's got that rushing upside. The one thing I'm hoping, and I agree with you, Steve. Denver is good. They're gonna hit him, and they're gonna hit him a lot in this game. And I'm just hoping that the young man can make it through healthy.
Yeah, because he hasn't been smart. He better be smart in this game. That's true.
Yeah, it's if he just needs to get through this game, and I'm not expecting them to win. I do think they keep it close, but I'm not expecting them to win. And he's got to make it through healthy. Denver is going to get hits on him. So
yeah, 100%. Darius Slayton's banged up. I don't even know if he's going to play. So it could be a whole lot of Wan'Dale Robinson and Theo Johnson in this game. Cam Scatterbo, obviously don't like him to have a huge rushing performance, but it's possible. I mean, you never know. But he's gonna, you got to start Cam Scatterable right now. I mean, in all leagues, every league, I think his floor is very safe. Could fall into the end zone. Should catch 3-4 balls, something like that. Yeah, Cam Scatterable.
It's a bad matchup with Theo Johnson, but he could score a touchdown. He is a red zone threat.
Broncos 4th overall against tight ends. Wandale, yeah, it's not a good matchup for Wandale. I don't know, man. Like I feel like this could be a game where the Giants score like 10 points. What do you think?
The more and more we talking through it, my +7's looking more and more like going like this.
Yeah, especially with the Demarius tribute and all that. The Giants coming off a big win. I think this might be a Denver bounce back here. I mean, I know they won last week, but they barely won.
Yeah, Sean Payton coached awful in that game. They have to make an adjustment here. Bo Nix, just the way they managed that game. I mean, it was like they were playing to not lose, which was weird because they were playing the friggin' Jets.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones threw for 300 against them, a touchdown. Herbert threw for 300 and a touchdown. Nobody's really running against them. Even Fields only had 31 yards last week. So, yeah, I don't know. This might be a week where Dart is kind of limited, but I think agree with Joe. Like, I could see him having 16, 17 points. Wandale, you don't feel good about. Cam is a no-brainer, and then Theo Johnson, not a great matchup, but if you have to use him, it's not terrible. It's especially if Slayton's out, he's gonna have to throw to somebody. So could get into the end zone. All right, let's keep it moving here. Colts at Chargers. Interesting game here. Total is 48.5, 47.5. Chargers favored by 1.5. Daniel Jones, throwing, there's been a couple bad throws here and there, kind of flashes of the old Danny Jones. But obviously, playing very, very well in this system. Jonathan Taylor's been a stud. Tyler Warren's been a stud. Pittman, pretty good season overall. Downs is, hasn't been consistent enough. Alec Pierce, just 2 catches. You can't really rely on him just yet. It's kind of just Pittman, Taylor, Warren, and Jones right now in the Colts offense. But what do you see here from the Colts offense here against the Chargers? I don't really like this. I feel like I like the Chargers in this game. I'm going to be taking the Chargers -1.5. But what do you see out of the Colts here?
I like the Chargers as well. I think Tyler Warren continues to be Tyler Warren. Jonathan Taylor probably his rushing upside is probably capped in this game just because they're not going to be playing with the lead, I don't think. At least not the entire game. Michael Pittman, I like, Josh Downs got the concussion, right? So he's got a clear protocol to be playing. So I like Michael Pittman. I like Tyler. I like the main pieces of the offense. Obviously, you're not benching Taylor, but I do think his ceiling is capped in this game unless he happens to fall in the end zone a couple of times. But that's pretty much it. I mean, Daniel Jones he's finally going up against a pretty decent defense against the pass.
Well, they played the Broncos. He did throw for 300 against them, but I think the Broncos defense was struggling a little bit early on in the season, a little bit.
I mean, the Colts have been the biggest surprise. Yeah. So,
Chargers are top 3 against receivers. But go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. And this game's in LA, so the over/under being 48.5. That seemed kind of high.
Yeah, actually would lean under here. Yeah, I could see it going over. I could see Herbert and Jones kind of going back and forth, but I don't know. I feel like maybe this is maybe we get a little bit of a Jones Taylor letdown game here. It's quite possible.
That's what I'm thinking. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be kind of game scripted out of dominating the rushes. I mean, the Colts defense is also pretty solid, but Justin Herbert's been playing real good all year. I do think Kamani Vidal's ceiling is going to be capped. I think he hits a little bit of a wall this week. I wouldn't expect 22 fantasy points like he did last week.
The only thing I'll say about Taylor is now I'm looking at this, and I watched Krosky Merritt look like freaking unbelievable against them in week 5 against the Chargers. And then Achane had a big game, his best game of the year on the ground, too. 16 for 128. So I know the game script. I don't know. I mean, I would say I think Taylor's going to probably have a good game. Maybe he does get game scripted out if they get into a big lead. I mean, that's possible. But if it's not, he could go off again against this defense based on what I've seen from Merritt and Achane the last couple of weeks.
I guess it all depends on how the Chargers pass defense plays and how Daniel Jones plays. If Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball over, Jonathan Taylor probably does have a solid game.
Yeah, it could get tricky though. You're right. Like I could see the Chargers pulling out to a lead here, and then they don't really get the chance to use Taylor. And maybe that's what the Chargers want to do. Maybe come out passing with Herbert, get to a lead, put some pressure on Daniel Jones, get away from Taylor in that play action game, passing game. So, this is going to be an interesting game, but I do like the Chargers. I'm pretty confident in the Chargers here. I've kind of been a little bit biased against Daniel Jones. That's Ernie's boy. Ernie made a great call. Like
I really like Daniel Jones too.
I did like him. Like I liked him coming out, but then I just saw him suck year after year with the Giants. I'm like, I mean, this guy just regressed. Like when they signed him to that contract, I was like, that was a good. I thought the Giants did the right thing when they did that actually, but then like he just kept regressing, so I gave up on him, and I didn't think there was a chance in hell he would ever be this good with the Colts. But yeah, he's proved me wrong up to this point. Chargers, they did allow 27 to the Dolphins, 27 to Washington. They've lost 2 out of the last 3. I don't know. I still like the Chargers in this game. I just feel like maybe this is a little bit of a letdown spot for the Colts here after beating the Raiders 40-6 and kind of struggling with Arizona a little bit last week.
I like an under bet in this game, and that's Kamani Vidal rushing yards under 54.5.
Okay. All right. Make that official. We'll make the Chargers -1.5 official. On the Chargers side of the ball, we'll see about Quentin Johnston if he gets back into the mix. We're going to use Ladd. Ladd's starting to come on past couple of weeks now. So, after the rough start, you feel pretty good about Ladd. McConkey. Joe just mentioned Vidal. He took the reign over Haskins. They just brought Nyheim Hines up from the practice squad, former Colts running back. I think the Bills signed him afterwards, and I think he tore his Achilles or maybe his ACL, but he's back now. I don't know if they're going to use him or not. Who the hell knows? Aronde Gatson had a nice game last week. If you want to use him in this matchup, I don't mind it. Keenan Allen took a step back last week. I don't know what they're going to do with their usage of the receivers, but we already talked about Keenan Allen kind of starting hot and then kind of fading out. So maybe we're fading Keenan Allen this week, or do you want to stick with him?
I think I'm sticking with them. I like I said, I think this is going to be a huge Justin Herbert passing game.
Okay.
I even think Aronde Gadsden remains involved, even if Quentin Johnston plays this game. I think if Quentin Johnston plays this game, I think he's gonna be limited as far as volume goes. That doesn't mean he ain't gonna be effective. He can still catch 2 touchdown passes on 3 receptions. You know what I mean? That's still in the range of outcomes, even if he's used limited. But Indianapolis, as good as their defense has been, they're 29th in the league against wide receivers as far as fantasy points goes. And they're middle of the pack against tight ends. This is why I like the Vidal under. This is why I like Justin Herbert to come out throwing in this game. I think they need to be aggressive to take Indianapolis if Indianapolis plays, they want to get Indianapolis offense off of their rhythm and off of their game. If they can do that, they're going to force they're going to force the Colts to go away from Jonathan Taylor, and I think they're going to make Daniel Jones eventually make a mistake. The charge, it just plays into the Chargers' pass defense. It just makes sense. Harbaugh's too smart of a coach not to use this type of a game plan approach. He's gonna see. He knows what the weaknesses are and what's gonna work. And so I like the Chargers to win the game too, and specifically for that reason. Justin Herbert is an excellent quarterback. Yeah,
I like Herbert. Stafford threw for 375, 3 touchdowns. We just saw Jacoby Brissett throw for 320 and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, like the Herbert a lot this week. And then also considering the Chargers receivers, Colts 5th worst against fantasy receivers. So yeah, Puka went off. Puka was off against everybody, but Zay Jones 5 for 79 last week. So yeah, Ladd, Keenan.
I like all the pass catches in Herbert.
Yeah, and Gatson too. I don't mind using a little bit of Gatson if you have to. I think if he's out there in your wire, he's a guy that I think they're going to continue to utilize more and more down the stretch. Considering Tyler Conklin stinks and Will Dissly stinks, I could see Vidal getting into the end zone, but yeah, probably won't have a ton of yards. And could catch 3-4 balls.
Yeah, that's Russian. That's the Russian yards on the
right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I like that. I don't mind that. Jamie says, got to check out my short I have on Vidal. I gave him a cool nickname, Tsunami Vidal, because he was the perfect storm and destroyed the city of Miami. He just sent the video to us guys. Also, Vidal Sassoon, if you guys remember that freaking shampoo back in like the 80s, 90s. I don't know if Vidal Sassoon's still around. I remember it was such a popular shampoo back in the 90s.
Remember the commercials?
Yeah, the commercial. We brought it up on the face. I think Anthony brought it up on the Face Off show once, and I told Hoff we got to bring it back. So we'll see if and he says he's going to do it. So I
think I remember this show actually.
Yeah. It was we were going off about it. All right, yeah, that's going to be a good game in the 4:00 section there. How many 4 o'clocks this week? 4 4:00 games this week. Last week there was only 3. 2 more 4 o'clocks to talk about. Washington versus Dallas, division rivalry game. Last few matchups here. Dallas has won 3 of the last 4. But Washington did win last year in Dallas, 23-19. Let me check out the stats in this game real quick. Actually, Marcus Mariota started in this or took over for Daniels. I guess Daniels got hurt in this game and threw 2 touchdowns, 15 of 18. Mariota ran for 56 yards. McLaurin, who's probably not going to play, had 62 yards and a touchdown. Trey Lance started for the Cowboys. This must have been a Week 17 game or like the last game of the year. The Washington was resting their stars and then Dak was hurt. Dowdle went for 72 yards and a touchdown. So the box score is kind of irrelevant here. All right, so Jaden Daniels, not really getting fully going. I thought the Washington looked great 2 weeks ago, and then they put up a dud, turning it over 3 times, losing to the Bears last week. Bill struggled, but this is a really good matchup for Bill. How do you feel about him here against Dallas and their shitty rushing defense?
Yeah, Bill's probably going to be effective. He's clearly the best running back there. They've made an attempt to use him more the last few weeks as well. The thing I'm worried about here is because I actually like Dallas winning this game. I like the 2.5 point spread at plus 114 odds. He probably still gets a touchdown, but if he doesn't get a touchdown, I think he's going to disappoint. Because I do think that this is going to be more of a shootout type of game. The total is what, 55?
55. Yeah, that's got to be. I think that's the highest total of the year.
I think I don't know if I like the over, but it's going to be right around that. And I do think that Dallas, Washington's defense isn't that good either. So maybe it does go over. But I think it's going to shoot out. You know what I mean? And with that being the case, if Ja'Cory Crossy Merritt doesn't get a touchdown, then I could see him only giving you like a 10, 10, 11 points at most, kind of like how Chase Brown did tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chris
and-
Rodriguez may be out in this game. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, and McNichols has been in there on a lot of passing downs. I think they split the pass down snaps. I know McNichols is running more routes than Ja'Cory Crossy Merritt, but I didn't know that Chris Rodriguez was going to be out. So that makes me a little more optimistic about Bill. But I'm pretty much, if I have him on my roster, I'm starting him in my RB2 spot. I don't think that you should bench him, unless you have a strong RB room.
Yeah, I was just surprised because he looked so good the game before last game, and I thought he was going to smash the Bears. But credit to the Bears. They probably came off the bye. They fixed some things in their defense, especially their run defense, which is a big weakness for them. So that could just been an adjustment for them. I don't think Dallas is going to make any big adjustments. Jamie says Mr. Bill has a streak this season, scoring a touchdown every odd number week, but not scoring the even weeks. It's week 7. The pattern says it's time to strike again and facing one of the league's worst run defenses. Yeah, I think it should be a bounce back game for Bill. He had the fumble. The other one was probably more on Jaden in the wet weather, but it was good to see Cliff kind of endorse him. So we still have confidence in him. McNichols has kind of looked good in spare parts, but yeah, Bill's the better running back. So I think, you go back to him. Good matchup. We don't know about Terry McLaurin. We don't know about Debo. Neither practice today. So that's the case. We like Luke McCaffrey to step in. He scored touchdowns back-to-back weeks. He's flashed with some big catches, great returns. You see the athleticism dripping all over him, considering his bloodlines. Again, I've talked about it a million times. His brother, his dad was a Super Bowl champ. His mom was an all-American soccer player, and then his grandfather was an Olympic runner from New Jersey. So he's got the bloodlines. This could be his best opportunity. He could have a really big game. This might be a very, very popular DFS play this week. And also Jalen Lane as well. Another guy who's shown some flashes might be in the mix at receiver. Then, Zach Ertz you like as well. He should get a ton of targets, if they're missing all these receivers. And I still like Daniels. I feel like Daniels will have a good game regardless. I'm going to take his over passing props. I think it's 227 yards.
Nice. I like Luke McCaffrey. I picked him up in quite a few spots this week. Good week to pick him up. I actually dropped him in some spots this week. So really?
now because I was chasing other guys. Like I pick him up, I drop him, I pick him up, I drop him. But now, all these injuries, I might have to go back to him again this week. So we'll see.
Nice. CD is definitely back, right?
Yeah, CD looks like he's ready to go. Yeah, we didn't talk about the Dallas side yet. Dak, obviously, this is a smash spot for him, 55 total. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens. If you want to use Cavante Turpin in a DFS lineup, I don't even mind it. Jake Ferguson, of course, as well. What do you think about Javonte? He had one of his worst games last week. We just saw DeAndre Swift run all over it. Now, it was a lot of outside runs. Washington does have a lot of big body guys inside. So I don't know how you feel about Javonte here.
As far as a rushing total goes, I don't think you're going to get anything outlandish. I think he's always a threat to get a goal line carry. I think he's going to give you a typical Javonte Williams game. 10 to 13 points. If he scores a touchdown, maybe he can get you up to like 18. But I don't think you're going to get multiple touchdowns or like 120, 130 rushing yards. This is going to be a shootout type of game for sure. And it's going to be Dak, it's going to be Jaden Daniels, it's a lot of CeeDee Lamb, a lot of George Pickens, Ferguson. So yeah, I mean, just a floor game from Javonte is all I'm expecting.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like, I thought the Commanders, remember like last year, Dan Quinn's defense started out really slow, and then they started to pick it up a little bit more. And I kind of thought that was happening this year when they shut down Herbert and the Chargers. But obviously, the Chargers have had issues protecting him. So that kind of, swamped them. But they played good last week. I thought they played pretty decent on defense outside of stopping DeAndre Swift. I mean, they should have picked off Caleb a couple times. But, yeah, I mean, the total's 55. This should be a shootout. Maybe the Washington defense hasn't figured it out just yet. So, yeah, get everybody in this game as possible. When you see a total like this, you got to absolutely chase it. You said you like Dallas in this game, right?
I do. I think Dallas ends up winning. Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, I'd probably pick the over, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stay away from. I'm just going to go with Jaden over the 227 passing yards. Go ahead.
I like the 2.5 points. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. 2.5 really isn't a lot, but it's plus money to take Dallas. So that's kind of what intrigued me.
All right, Nicolo GK1 says pick 2: JCM, AJ Brown, Tet, Sutton, Dowdle. I'm not great at fantasy, so I don't know what to do. Don't sell yourself short, brother. What do you think here, Joe?
I'd go. Obviously, this is for the flex spot.
Pick 2.
I'd go JCM and
Sutton. Or do you like Tet more?
It's close.
I think I like Sutton and JCM here.
I would, yeah, it doesn't matter. Tetos. I was gonna say Tet, but and I love me some Sutton too. So I mean, either one of those two work.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Sutton has a good matchup here. And also, we think it's going to be a bounce back game. JCM should be a bounce back as well. Brown, you don't really know. We kind of think it's going to be a Saquon game. Joe expects the Eagles to blow out the Vikings. So we'll see if that happens, comes into fruition. And then Tet, not a great matchup against Sauce Gardner. Had 2 touchdowns last week, could get in the end zone. So, yeah, you got some really good options there, man. But I think JCM and Sutton was what I prefer. But, go with what you think, too. Go with your gut. Maybe you want to, test your fantasy skills a little bit, man. See if you could outsmart us here. Give yourself some more credit. No problem, Nico. Come back again, man. Jamie says keep tuning into these shows and face off, and you'll be a pro in no time. Appreciate that, Jamie. All right. Next 4 o'clock game. I believe the last one on the slate before we get into Sunday Night Football and the 2 Monday night games. So a couple more games to go here before we get out of here. Green Bay at Arizona. Looks like Jacoby Brissett once again. Marv has to clear protocol. We don't know if he's coming back yet. Also, Bam Knight, full practice today. So it looks like he'll be the guy. He's the guy I prefer over Michael Carter. I think he'll be the better running back. Keeps getting the goal line looks. Trey McBride, no doubt about it. So, yeah, Bam Knight, I don't mind using if you need a running back help. We'll see about Marv. Are there any other receivers you're using if Marv is hurt here for Arizona, or you just want to avoid them all here against the Packers?
Definitely avoiding them all. I'm not really confident in either quarterback on Arizona or against the Green Bay defense. This game's in Green Bay, right?
No, it's in Arizona.
Is it in Arizona?
Yeah, spread is 5.5. Arizona's getting 5.5, and the total is 45.5.
Right. Okay. Who is it? Zay Jones, and I think
Zay Jones. Yeah, people are picking him up this week. Yep.
And he popped up on the injury report today too, I believe.
Oh my God, I didn't see that.
He's well. I don't think it's anything serious, but he let me take a look. Actually, it was the.
You take a look at that.
Nope, he's not on there anymore. So I think it was just yesterday. that he was limited. It must have been a maintenance day because it was Wednesday.
Yeah, how do you see this game going? I mean, do you think that the Packers are just going to get into a big lead here, and then Brissett's going to have to toss around the rock, and maybe Michael Wilson or Zay Jones has a decent game here?
You know, I don't think the over under is 45. I would lean towards the under in this one.
Yeah,
I don't think Arizona's offense is going to be able to get much going. Jacoby Brissett is going to be under pressure. I think that Green Bay's absolutely going to go after him and force him to make quick decisions and make mistakes. I could see Green Bay winning something like 23-6, 23-9. 2020. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
LaFleur likes to run the ball, especially when he knows that the other offense it doesn't get much going on. Not particularly. I mean, I like Tucker Kraft in this game. Arizona's not that great against tight ends. I think Kraft is probably a good bet to get in the end zone.
Yeah, one of the worst against tight ends.
Yeah, Kraft and Josh Jacobs in your lineups, 100%. Bet on these guys. I like them for touchdown bets, and that's pretty much how I see this game going. I think it's Green Bay's gonna smother this offense.
No, what do you think about the Packers receivers? They're so hard to predict. I mean, it's Dobbs. Golden's starting to come up a little bit, but you still don't feel great using him. Christian Watson actually could make his way back into the lineup this week. He's actually practicing in a limited fashion. So it just muddles it up even more. I kind of agree. Like Kraft's like the only one you could really trust. And then Jacobs. Like the other receivers, if you have to use Dobbs or Golden, I don't mind it. It's just you just don't know what to expect. Right.
Yeah, I'm not starting any of the wide receivers unless I have to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you there as well. It's not really like the game script where Love's going to have to be tossed. And it's more like you said earlier, a Josh Jacobs stay ahead game. And by the way, Marshawn Lloyd supposedly could be returning to practice soon. So this guy has been like out his entire NFL career since he's been drafted from USC. So he's a guy to pay attention to. If you could put him on your IR, I've been actually stashing him in a lot of spots, waiting for him to come back, because I just feel like if he ever gets an opportunity, he could be really, really nice. I kind of believe in the talent, but obviously a Jacobs injury would have to happen. So I've been like stashing him and then cutting him where I can. But it's just a guy to pay attention to. But I think Golden should get a little bit better, but now with Watson coming back, it's just going to muddy things even. And then Reed may come back in like 3-4 weeks. So it's just going to be very, very hard to predict. Kraft and Jacobs, Jordan Love, not a bad play either. And then we like Bam Knight if you're going to use a running back, you're desperate. And then Trey McBride, of course. No other picks here in this game. I mean, I'm just staying away. I feel like the spread's kind of tight, and Joe leans the under here. By the way, I did like the under in the Giants game, under 40.5. All right, let's get into the Sunday night game. Going to be Atlanta versus San Francisco. Atlanta's defense starting to play pretty damn good ball past couple weeks against Washington and Buffalo, especially last week. Starting to get more pressure on the quarterback, covering well. Raheem Morris starting to get that defense going. They got some good talent on that defense as well. Brock Purdy is practicing, but it looks like Mac Jones is going to start once again. He's kind of been banged up a little bit. It looks like George Kittle had a torn hamstring, but he's still going to come back and play this week. He said, I guess he got kind of lucky with it wasn't tear off the bone, so that's why he's back. Sounds like he's basically 100%. So it looks like George Kittle's a go. Juwan Jennings, he's playing through like 5 broken ribs. I don't think we're going to see – we'll probably see him out there with Kendrick Bourne. I don't think we're going to see Pearsall. Ayuk's probably like a month away, maybe longer. The one thing I noticed in this game, Joe, was the Falcons are really good against stopping receiving running backs. So obviously CMC has been going off as a receiver. This might be a game maybe where he goes under.
I wouldn't. I still wouldn't bet against them.
Yeah.
I do like
Might be overthinking it a little bit there.
I do like Atlanta to win the game though. They're plus 1.5 points at plus 115. I do think Atlanta's about to go on a little bit of a run. And their defense has played a lot better. This game is in San Fran, so I mean, at least San Fran has that going for them. So, I'm not betting against CMC. I think he's still effective in the passing game, even with Kittle coming back. Kendrick Bourne, I'm still confident in starting. Mac Jones, keeps him relevant. What's the over-under is 47. That's going to be close. It's going to be right around that. I don't think I'd bet the over-under.
I would lean under in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I see that. The way Atlanta's defense is playing, then I know San Francisco was kind of banged up, but they got to travel cross country. It's I don't know. Bijan's unbelievable right now. Drake London's on fire. So yeah, but I don't know. I would lean under here, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But it's going back to the running back thing. The Atlanta is number 1 against running backs in fantasy. But then I looked at it, I'm like, all right, well, they're allowing 4.46 yards per carry. They're not allowing anything through the air. Like Rachaad White had 2 yards. Bucky Irving had 4 catches for 8 yards. The Panthers running backs were under 10 yards receiving. Krosky Merritt, 10 yards receiving. James Cook and the Bills receivers were under 20 yards. So, I mean, they've allowed 2 touchdowns. Irving scored and Ray Davis scored. But as far as yardage, it is CMC. They scheme it up so well. But it's always going to be an inflated number. So, like, if there's any week to take it, I think this would be the week if you wanted to be ballsy and take the under on Christian McCaffrey's receiving yards, especially with Kittle coming back. Maybe he takes away a little bit.
That is a fucking impressive number. 69 receiving yards to running backs is all they're given.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, it's true. That's the total there. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the week to do it. All right. What else have we got in this game? Yeah, obviously Drake London, Bijan, Kyle Pitts. I mean, I don't know, dude. I can't use Kyle Pitts. I still can't trust Kyle Pitts. What do you think?
Mooney's back on. Is Mooney gonna be
he's limited practice again, so we don't know with Daryl Mooney, man. He's like so fragile. You never know with this guy, so you gotta wait.
San Fran's 13th against tight ends, but actually from a points per games.
And they just lost Fred Warner for the year. I mean, absolutely devastating.
Yeah.
Fred Warner is such a good player, man. He's so fun to watch. It just sucks that they're missing him and Bosa. That's killer.
Yeah, I mean, you start him if you have to, but I'm not confident in Pitts this week for sure. He had a real good matchup last week and he didn't do shit. So.
Yeah, he slipped. He slipped and fell. I don't know. He's just kind of doofy out there sometimes.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that this game is probably going to go under. The more and more we talk through it. Yeah. With that being said, that means I don't like Pitts this week.
Yeah, it's tight. Like this game is tight for me. I could see Atlanta winning. I could see San Francisco winning.
Right.
It's a tough one. All right. Kendrick Bourne though, man, like keep him going. The guy looks like he's rejuvenated his game, even with Kittle coming back. I mean, still no Pearsall. I feel good about it, especially if Mac Jones is going to start one more week. They have a good connection. So, yeah, keep it going there with Kendrick Bourne. I feel pretty decent about that. All right, a couple questions in the chat here. Helpman Silver says, I just traded Hurts, Goddard, Pittman, and Jordan Mason for Knicks, Devonta Adams, or is it Devonta and Adams or Devonta Adams? Probably
Devonta Smith, maybe Adams. So
I'm thinking it's Devonta Adams, not Devonta Smith and Adams. Devonta Adams, Krosky, and Kelsey. So Hurts, Goddard, Pittman and Jordan Mason. For Knicks, Devonta Adams, Krosky, and Kelsey. What do we think?
It's pretty even. I'd say that, yeah, that's pretty even. I don't like that you went from Hurts to Knicks. I actually like Jalen Hurts' schedule down the stretch. Let's see, you upgraded at wide receiver slightly. I'd say that you made a lateral move at tight end just because I do see Kelsey's production taking a bit of a ding with Rashee Rice returning and the fact that they want to keep him fresh and, for the playoff stretch. And Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt for Mason is, I guess it's a slight upgrade, when Aaron Jones returns.
I still think I prefer Mason.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like it.
It's pretty even value wise, but I don't think I would have made this trade.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it could be even. It could end up working out for you too. But I think the Knicks Hurts one is the one that kind of gets to me a little bit there. But Knicks could get better. He started slow last year too. He finished really strong down the stretch, but now they got tape on him. So maybe things are starting to get figured out a little bit here with Knicks in this offense. A lot of it last year was a lot of it schemed up by Peyton. A lot of layup throws, but he did make some really good throws down the stretch too. So we'll see. We'll see. Like Joe said, I don't know if I would have made the trade. My boy Greg here. This is actually my boy from Jersey. Santos says 3-3, staying up late with us. Too many receivers. Lamb, Rice, Sutton, Ladd, and Bourne. Got Bucky, White, Chuba, Dowdle. What move should I make?
Sell Dowdle.
Yeah, sell Dowdle.
Sell Dowdle. Let's see. Lamb, Rice, Sutton, Ladd. If you can flex, if it's a start 3 wide receiver, I wouldn't let any of those wide receivers go. Maybe you could try to sell Bourne high before.
Definitely sell Bourne and Dowdle for something.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would hold on to Bucky and White.
Yeah,
because when Bucky's out, White is getting enough volume to plug in your lineup, and then when Bucky comes back, you'll have Bucky back. I would try to sell Dowdle and Bourne to upgrade the running back spot.
Get another running back. Yeah, I'm with you there because you still have Lamb, Rice, Sutton, and Ladd, and then you got 2 great backfields. Both sides of it, which is awesome because if one gets hurt, you're going to get the production anyway. But yeah, I mean, if you want to upgrade there, trade Dowdle and Bourne, get a nice running back to upgrade there because Dowdle's going to take a hit there. Keep the rest of the guys. Thanks, brother, for joining us tonight. Jamie says San Fran allows the second most fantasy points to the slot. 13 to 14% of Bijan Robinson's routes are run out of the slot. He gets about 6 targets per game. A good nugget there from Jamie. Niners already allowing 20-plus points to running backs. So I like another 25-plus point game from Bijan. Bijan looks like the best running back by far and away. He's the number 1 pick in fantasy next year, without a doubt.
Yeah, and he probably
Chase is still there too. Jamar Chase.
It depends on what your flavor is. If you're a start running back guy and then hammer wide receivers from there on out, then Bijan's your guy. If you like to get fancy with the running back strategy, then Jamar Chase is your guy. That's either way, you can't go wrong.
All right.
But there's like a lot of underlying factors that's screaming the Falcons are going to win this game. That's why they're one of my 4. I had 4 picks.
Were you a little concerned about Mac Jones, the way he looked last week? A little bit banged up, 2 picks against Tampa. A lot of travel for them too. They go to Tampa, now they got to go back to freaking the West Coast.
Yeah, there's just a ton of factors that led me to pick Atlanta.
All right, I may roll that one with you there, man. I might get fired up with you and roll that. Let's go. All right,
Atlanta. I see. It just looks like they're about to go on a run.
Atlanta and the under. That's what we're doing maybe in this game.
I like
Yeah,
it.
no, I agree. Penix is playing London. They're hot right now. They are hot. They got to travel cross country too, though. We'll see. We'll see how this game works out. Again, Kyle Shanahan used to be the Atlanta offensive coordinator. We all remember the Super Bowl. What was the score there, Joe? What was the score there? The famous score, 28-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truth,
Dude.
you want to know a story about that? So at that time I was still working overnights.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep for almost all of
You were
that.
working during the Super Bowl?
No, I worked overnight. So I worked the overnight shift.
Oh,
And
okay,
I
gotcha.
literally fell asleep throughout almost all of the comeback. Almost all of it.
Oh, you thought it was over, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
You were fucking miserable. You were all hyped up, and you were like shy, like screw this. Let me just get my sleep.
That's when I was heavy into the weed too. So I was like, I think, and I remember waking up, and what the thing is, my wife watched the game at her mother's house, so I was home alone on the couch, like fucking sleeping, and I woke up, and when I woke up, they were like almost about to score the touchdown that James White scored.
James White.
I think
Jamie said he woke up with 2 minutes left.
Yeah,
we used to go on my friend's house, and his wife's Brazilian, so she always rooted for Brady because of Giselle.
Right.
Every time we went to his house, the Patriots would win, and I was like hoping finally they would freaking lose. They just constantly win. So, yeah, no, that was a hell of a comeback.
Of course, I rewatched the game, but it's obviously not the same seeing it at the moment. But
yeah. Well, I mean, that was a hell of a dynasty the Patriots had. I mean, as a sports fan, like growing up, I had the Yankees, I had the Bulls. I was a big Bulls fan. Like to watch that, like you're never gonna get that back again. Like it's gonna be very rare to get something like that. Such a special thing to be a fan and to witness all those Super Bowls like that and greatness like that in the moment. You got to really appreciate it. Greg says, Jamie. Oh, he's asking Jamie, but we'll answer it too. What trade combo would be fair for Kyren, you think?
To get Kyren or to trade?
Would that trade combo be fair for Kyren? Yeah, the Dowdle, Kendrick Bourne. I don't think you're getting that Kyren for that.
You could try.
You could try, but you'd probably have to throw in.
I would say that if Dowdle has another game this week, and this is why I say it might be best to wait another week, because I do think that they still ride Dowdle this week, even if Chuba comes back, just because it's Chuba's first game back. If Dowdle does it again, a 15 to 30 point game, you might have a chance at getting that.
Yeah, Jamie doesn't like Kyren. A lot of people don't like Kyren, but you know what, man? He keeps getting the job done week in and week out. He's just a solid player from Notre Dame. All right. Where the hell are we? Falcons, San Francisco, Sunday Night Football. We pretty much ran through the game here. Is there anything we missed here? I think we've got it all covered, right?
On the Falcons, 49ers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we covered it all.
All right. All right, Monday Night Football. We got two more. This time it's a little bit more spread out. We got a 7 and a 10. So I kind of like that better, actually. I don't really like the games when they're on at the same time, although I watch them both at the same time, but I kind of like focusing on, one individual game. So it's kind of cool. So Buccaneers, Lions. This is also a high total, second highest total of the week, 52.5. Detroit's favored by 5.5. Interesting little history between these two teams. I noticed they played in the playoffs a couple years ago, 2024. Lions beat them 31-23. They played in the regular season the year before that in Tampa. The Lions won 20-6. And then last year in Detroit, the Bucs got the revenge. Todd Bowles and his defense got a little bit of revenge on Goff. They picked him off twice. He still threw for 300 yards, but he threw the ball 55 times. And then Baker Mayfield, not a great game, just 185 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but the defense got the job done. They turned Goff over a couple times, and they get the W. So, interesting game. This is going to be a fun game to watch here on Monday night. How do you see this game going?
Well, last year Tampa Bay's defense was rush defense was near the top in the league, I believe. This year they're a little bit down. They're 23rd in the NFL.
They were pretty strong, and then they kind of fell off the last couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah. I think that with this game being in Detroit, I could see them hitting that over. I think it's going to be a shootout, a high scoring total. I like Jared Goff prop bets. I'm going to do a 2-leg parlay with him, and it's Goff over 260 passing yards and Goff 3+ TDs. The over 260s at plus 120, and the 3+ TDs is at plus 186. I do think that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have a pretty good game. Tampa Bay is the 3rd worst team against pass catching running backs currently right now. So I think you're going to get a good Jahmyr Gibbs game. That's why I hinted earlier about fading Montgomery this week. So yeah, that's kind of why I like the 3+ passing touchdowns for Goff too. This game's in Detroit. I like Goff. If I'm playing Jared Goff over Caleb Williams, I paired them together a lot this year. In some of my builds, I'm actually starting Goff over him. I think that Tampa Bay is also Baker Mayfield's also gonna pass. Mike Evans is expected to be back. I do think that he is gonna have an immediate impact. I talked about it earlier. Usually he gets eased back in, but they're gonna have to use him out of necessity in this game. I like Rachaad White volume play. I don't necessarily think he'll be efficient on the ground, but I do think he gets volume in both in the passing game and rushing the football. He does enough to get you to 15-point mark where you want to be for RB2. Other than that, I like Detroit to win the game. As Tampa Bay has had a lot of close calls this year, they've pulled them off. I think this time their luck finally runs out. And
I'm with you. Baker Ben has thrown 6 picks in 4 matchups against the Lions. 1 was with Cleveland, but 3 games with Tampa. He's got 4 picks, 4 touchdowns. He threw for 206 and 185 in the last matchup. He threw for 185, but in that playoff game, he threw for 349. He's playing so lights out. This game is a high total. I definitely could see another good game. He's going to get Evans back. I know Ibuka is going to be out. I think Tez Johnson could fill in decent. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I feel like the Lions bounce back here after 2 road games. The loss last week, they scored 34 against Cleveland at home. They scored 52 against Chicago at home. Jamo, had a nice little game. Probably his best game of the year last week. Laporta, Gibbs. I think I'm going to take the Lions here as well, -3.5, and also the over 53. I think this game's going to go over. We're going to get some fireworks in this game. I think Tampa, you're right, man. They've been playing really good, but I think they take the L here as well. But I think we talked about it earlier. We're going to use Evans in this game, right? Even though it's the first game back, because they're going to have to use.
Yeah. And I don't do rankings, but if I was to rank Jahmyr Gibbs, I'd have him number 1 running back this week, and that's me thinking that Saquon's going to go off as well.
I was going to bring this up earlier regarding the running backs. We were talking about the Bucks. So yeah, their yards per carry is pretty stout, just 3.56, but they're like 21st worst because they've been torched a few times in the passing game. by
Yeah.
CMC, 7 for 57, and Bijan 6 for 100. So maybe this is a Jahmyr Gibbs over in passing yards game.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Receiving yards, my bad.
Tampa's given up the third most.
Yeah.
And I get it. They were against the best pass catch and running backs in the league, but that's what Jahmyr Gibbs is. He's one of the better pass catch and running backs in the league. And I'm expecting a big game.
All right, let's get to King's question. He keeps putting question marks and asking us if we're alive or if we're a fake AI show in here. King, should I trade away BTJ and Rico Dowdle for Rome, Pittman, Pollard, and Bourne? You get a nice little package there. I don't know if I like that combo of players, but
I think you can get more for BTJ and Rico. I think you're not getting enough of a return there, in my opinion. It is a nice package of players, but
yeah, I lost my connection a little bit there. Am I back now?
You are, but you are moving a little slow.
Hold on. Let me see. I don't know. Let me see what's going on here.
No, I think you're good now. I think you're good now. Yeah.
Right. Let me see something real quick. My Ethernet out by accident, I think. All right, yeah, we're good. We're getting back.
You bump the desk. Sometimes I do that.
My Ethernet is like maybe hanging. I don't know. Maybe I pull it. So I got to get a new one because it's missing the clip, so it comes out every once in a while. So what do you think here?
Yeah.
Like it?
No, I don't like it.
Okay.
I think you can get more for BTJ and Rico.
So, I mean, you're getting Rome and Pittman and Bourne. Bourne's going to fade away, though, soon. And then Pollard, I mean, he might be even with Dow the rest of the way. It's just like you don't really feel good about Rome and Pittman for the BTJ.
The thing is, I don't rule out Rico Dowdle taking over the backfield.
Okay.
I think it's in the range of outcomes. I think it's not likely, but it can happen. I think they're going to roll with Rico this week against – they're playing the Jets, right? Carolina?
Yeah.
Jeff. So and it's Chuba's first game back. I think they're going to roll with Rico pretty much most of the game. I think he's going to dominate the shares. The snap share, the Russian share, the carries, all of that. And after that, it's going to be Chuba gets a chance. But if Chuba doesn't look good, Chuba, however you want to pronounce it, if he doesn't look good, I see them immediately going back to Dowdle.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
I think that's
as I say, that's in the range of outcomes, in my opinion. And I just think that you can sell higher. You can get more for BTJ and Dowdle.
Yeah, I don't really, like I said earlier, I don't really like the combo of players there. So yeah, come back with us, man. See what else you could maybe work. Jamie doesn't like it either.
I mean, if you have a losing record, you need the depth, and you got to get a win immediately. But even still, I'm okay with waiting one more week to sell Dowdle high. I think if he has another pretty good game of 15, if he goes over 15 points against the Jets, and then you let BTJ have another good game too, then I definitely think you'd be able to sell both of them for more.
Yeah, I would try to trade Dowdle this week though, if you could, because you never know. Chuba could come back this week and look good. I mean, he's looked good all last year. This Canales system is good for running backs, and they are paying Chuba a lot of money too. So. Can Dowdle take the job? It's definitely quite possible. He could have solid value the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Both these guys could be solid in the same backfield together, but normally Canales likes to use one, but Dowdle, I think, has kind of forced his hand. And they also said that earlier. Like they said, Dowdle has kind of forced their hand. So
I mean, I'm okay with threading the needle and waiting one more week, especially with BTJ. If he puts together another big game, then you're definitely gonna look back at this trade and go, man, I settled for those players. And I'm not
the highest on Roman Pittman anyway.
I'm a DJ Moore guy, and I'm telling you, man, DJ Moore looked real good the last 2 weeks.
DJ Moore is freaking awesome, but they don't. For some reason, I'm pissed too.
The trade I made today to get Barkley, I traded Roma Dunze and Travis Etienne for Saquon Barkley and who was the other player? Let me look it up real quick. I was basically trying to get Barkley because I like him rest of the season. I think he's gonna start to show some of this
favorable schedule.
Yeah, show some of the signs. But let me see who the hell was.
All right, Jamie says Gibbs has a favorable matchup. What the hell happened there?
DJ Moore. That's what I got. I traded Odunze and Etienne for Barkley and DJ Moore today.
Yeah, I like that. 100%. Yeah. DJ Moore, like him and Odunze could definitely be, even, and then you're getting freaking Barkley. So yeah, 100%. It sucks because I used to draft DJ Moore, and now I haven't been drafting him. But hopefully he finishes strong down the stretch here. I think he still is the best receiver on the team.
I agree.
Hopefully they start to. But Jamie says Gibbs has a favorable matchup with the Tampa Bay defense that could allow receiving yards to running backs. We just talked about that. Smash to over 24. That's all it is. 24 and a half yards.
Right.
Shit. Oh, we're making that an official play on this show right now. All right. Let's do it.
Tease it up if you want to.
Yeah. Ladder it up for sure. 100%. Maybe go over 100 or like 50 if you want. Yeah, 50 is a good one. You get good odds there. You don't go too crazy. But yeah, he said 40. Juice it up to 40. There you go. Plus 238 odds. We like that one, Jamie. We're all on the same board with you. He says, boom, damn, Joe is on the same page with Gibbs. We're all on the same page there. We like it. Earlier today, I bet Gibbs 25 plus with the odds at 108, but they raised his line. DJ, I want to score more. 100%. All right. Bucks Lions. I think we covered everything here. We got to talk about Rachaad White, keeping him going. Obviously, he's been very, very steady. No more Bucky, maybe for another week after this too. So yeah, Rachaad White, keep it going. What about Cade Otton here in this matchup with all these injuries? Noah Buka, Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson. I know Evans is coming back, but in a high total like this, Otton really hasn't done much this year at all. But what do you think about him in this matchup? Lions middle of the pack against Titans.
Right. I mean, I guess he's still
there's got to be better options, right?
Yeah, I only if you absolutely have to play him.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see like 3 or 4 catches for like 40 yards. I don't think I don't think they hyper target him.
And then Tez Johnson, I mean, he's a good player, man. He was a lethal receiver at Oregon. I mean, he was really, really good. I think he went the 4th or 5th round in the draft. Shout out to the Bucks. They kept stacking his receivers, and they got another good one. He made a hell of a catch. That freaking, that is freaking one of the hardest catches you can make as a receiver. And then he does the flip afterwards. So, Baker's on the money. Like Tez Johnson could have a nice performance. I feel pretty good about using him in this game.
Even Cameron Johnson. I think that I'm trusting those wide receivers more than Otton.
Yeah, I agree. I like Tez over Cameron though.
Yeah, of course. But I think that they'll both be involved enough to kind of hurt Cade Otton's ceiling. I think if Otton does have a decent game, he's going to get a lot of his stuff in the second half. Coming via garbage points. Well, I don't want to say garbage points because I don't think the Lions are going to blow them out. But I do think that they're going to hold the lead most of the game. And in the second half, you could see Tampa Bay get more aggressive. Baker is going to go out there and do everything he can to try to win the game, especially if he's down by a score or 7 or 10 points. So
we do realize it's 3 a.m., Jamie. Well, we're not quite there yet, but we're almost done here, baby. I wanted to say I got one more prop in this game. I noticed that freaking Amon-Ra has absolutely torched the Bucks in those 3 matchups. Like he just has gone off. in every single one of those last
Yep.
few matchups. So over 74.5 for Amon-Ra. Even J-Mo might have a huge game too. I like the fact that they it seems like they like to use J-Mo early in the game and then they get away from him later on. I think Goff just starts to trust his usual Amon-Ra. But Amon-Ra over 74.5 in this matchup, I think that's a very, very solid pick. So that's another one there. We got a bunch of picks in that game. All right, last game, Monday night, 10 o'clock. Texans on the road in Seattle. Tough place to play, obviously. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a great atmosphere. We got a little bit of light rain, drizzle, typical for the Northwest, but nothing too crazy. So, yeah, CJ Stroud played a hell of a game before the bye against the Ravens. Ravens defense was really banged up, but that was by far in his way his best game. He looked comfortable, was making nice throws. Woody Marks took a step back. Kind of wasn't his game script there, where the week before against Tennessee, 26-0. Actually, no, that wasn't the game script either. Did he go off against Tennessee, Woody Marks? Yeah, he did, actually. Yeah, he did. And then he didn't do anything against Baltimore. They kind of went back to Chubb. So I don't know what to think about Woody Marks. How do you feel about Woody Marks in this matchup against Seattle?
I actually like him in this matchup. Seattle, I just think the game script is going to play out in his favor. I think
they're going to have to pass, you think, right?
Yeah. I don't think Seattle. I actually like Houston to win this game. This was one of my plus three at plus 140 odds. I like Houston there, and it's got nothing to do with the it's got more so to do with the defense. I think that they're gonna get to Sam Darnold. They're gonna make Sam Darnold make mistakes. Sam Darnold's been playing a little bit above his head. You said there's supposed to be a little bit of light precipitation.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Yeah, probably just a little drizzle. That's all I see.
Okay. But I just do think that he's like due for one of those games where like you realize how Sam Darnold is. You know what I mean? Like the Houston defense is relentless when I think they're just going to go after him. Their running game hasn't been all that efficient. Houston's pretty solid against the run, and where was I going with this? Woody Marks. Yeah, I just think that Nick Chubb is like he was the running back against Baltimore because the interior line is diminished there, and that's where Nick Chubb kind of excels. Seattle's got a pretty good defensive front, so I think they're gonna want to use Woody Marks like on the outside and get him involved in the passing game. CJ Stroud has played a lot better, and if he is. I do expect Seattle to get pressure on him. The Houston's offensive line still isn't the greatest, but I could see Woody Marks getting dump offs. And, I considered playing him over Chase Brown. I didn't, but I looked into it and was like,
I wouldn't have did that.
No, I didn't do it, but I considered it. I looked into it, and I just think of the two running backs for Houston, this is a better matchup for Woody Marks than Nick Chubb.
Okay. I mean, if they are ahead though, they got the game script. Nick Chubb did look a little bit better last week. The game prior against Baltimore, thought that was probably his best game. The way he looked all season, looked like he had a little bit more of a just juice back. I could see him getting to the end zone. I don't mind using Chubb in this game. Woody Marks, I get a little bit nervous by what he kind of like got a race in that Baltimore game, and they had a lead in that game too. But I guess again they didn't have to pass. They didn't really have to use him. I feel like in game scripts where they have to throw a little bit more, he should be a little more utilized. I feel like this could be either a Marks game or a Chubb's game. I don't know. It depends how the game goes, and I could see it going both ways. But based off what you're saying, you like Houston. I think I think maybe it might be more of a Chubb game.
No, well, here we go. So I'm looking at this right here. I forgot to bring this up. Seattle leads the Seattle defense has given up the most targets and receptions to pass catching running backs.
Yeah, CMC though was one of them.
344 yards. Red zone.
CMC had 9 for 73, and Warren had 4 for 86. Go ahead.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. That the interior rush defense is stout.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm not liking Chubb. It's not. I'm not saying Woody Mox is going to put up 20 points. I just think that it's a better matchup for Woody Mox than Nick Chubb.
Okay. Yeah, no, they did a good job on CMC. They held Warren down. Yeah, their run defense has been pretty strong. 3.12 yards per carry. So yeah, that's actually kind of scary for Chubb. You're right. I don't like that at all. He may have like 30 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he's got to fall in the end zone.
And Seattle gets after the quarterback. Houston has a shitty offensive line, and that's what leads to teams dumping, checking down against Seattle.
Right. True. Good points. Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying here. I don't really see a big game from either guy here.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. But I would say Woody Marks probably might be a little bit safer. Yeah, you're probably right. All right. Good points there. I'm glad you got me into that one. All right, JSN, guy's a freaking stud. Cooper Kupp, though, how do you feel about him here against the Texans? Pretty strong secondary. I don't know how good I feel about Cooper Kupp in this matchup.
I don't know how good I feel about JSN either. I mean, obviously you're going to play him, but 25 to 30 points like he's been getting. I think you're going to see more of like a 14 to 19 point type of game out of JSN. I think that Cooper Kupp has a better chance of getting in the end zone than JSN in this game. I don't think he's going to have all that much of a big game, and I don't necessarily think he's going to get in the end zone. I just think that, that's what Cooper Kupp does. He gets open in tight spaces, and if they get down there, it's going to be A.J. Barner, it's going to be one of the running backs, and it's going to be Cooper Kupp. JSN's going to have to make a big play to get in the end zone like he usually does. And other than that, his space is going to be squeezed by Houston for sure.
They held Ibuka down 4 for 29, but Ibuka did score. They held Mike Evans down to 56 yards. Puka was the only guy that had a 100-yard game against them, but Puka does it against anybody. Devonta had 4 for 51. Zay Flowers, week 5 with Cooper Rush, had 5 for 72. Here's a little bit of hope for JSN, but yeah, I mean, this is going to be a tough matchup considering the Houston pass rush, considering, like Joe brought up earlier, Darnold against the pass rush is not always pretty. Usually it isn't. And so, temper your expectations maybe for JSN this week. Cooper Kupp as well. What about the running backs on Seattle here? Kenny Walker. I mean, the usage for Kenny Walker is just so weird.
It is.
They brought it up to the coach, McDonald, and he's like, we're going to continue to use both guys. It's not about the stats. We have a plan at running back. To me, that says to me is we know Kenny Walker is our best back, but we also know that he's been hurt. So we probably just want to kind of maintain his usage maybe towards the end of the year and for the playoffs, and maybe gear him up towards, when we really, really, truly need him. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from McDonald on that quote.
I agree. It's been a nightmare if you own either of the running backs. They kind of sabotage each other's ceiling. I agree with what you said, Kenneth Walker. They need to keep him fresh down the stretch. Maybe they go back to a one running back approach when the games mean more, or when they're in must-win situations. And yeah, that's a pretty good take, Steve. And when coaches say that, they generally mean it. Like Mike Vrabel said the same thing. We have 3 running backs, and they all do something. They all bring a little something to the table. So, yeah, we're going to use all 3. No, we're not going to bench a guy that fumbles the ball all the time because we need him to do what he does because the other 2 running backs don't do it well. So when a coach talks like that about his running back room, it's you really got to pay attention to it. I do think that it's going to be them 2 splitting. Like everything is like split right down the middle too. The snaps, the passing game, like everything. So it's definitely pretty much exactly how you said it.
That said, considering this is a tough matchup for their passing game, like this might be a game where they might want to lean on Walker a little bit more, get a little bit more explosion out of that running game. So I don't know how I feel about Charbonnet. I actually don't feel great about him. I'd probably try to keep him away from my lineups, but I'd still use Kenny Walker in hopes that, they kind of smarten up and realize, they're not really moving the ball too well. We got to get our playmaker the ball a little bit more in this game. So I'd probably use Walker and feel decent about it at least.
Let me ask you this, Steve. You got Rico Dowdle and Kenny Walker. Who you playing? Who you starting?
If Hubbard's playing, I'm going Walker.
Okay.
Yeah. I still think I'm sticking Kenny Walker, but it's close. I mean, if you wanted to go Dowdle, I'm not gonna hate on it. It really depends on Hubbard's, like, is it going to be limited? If he's going to be limited in any way, and he may be limited even if he comes back his first week, maybe I'd go Dowdle in that case then.
It's just a threshold to see exactly where you would. I think that's pretty much the closest stats question I could have given you. So
yeah, I want to see how Hubbard comes along and if he's going to play, and then I make my decision. But if Hubbard, obviously if Hubbard's out, I'm going Dowdle. But if he's playing, then it's going to be very close. I'd pay attention to the reports. Like if he's going to be limited, then I'd go Walker. I mean, I'd go Hubbard if he's not. If they're gonna, if Hubbard's gonna start, start the game, whatever, and be fine. He's off their injury report. Then I would go Walker. All right, we got one more question about Walker. Trade Walker and Worthy for Henry and Higgins from It's Job TV.
Higgins, I'm assuming that's T. Higgins.
T. Higgins, yeah.
Derrick Henry or Hunter Henry?
It's got to be Derrick Henry.
I'd make that trade. Yeah, it's close.
I would do it too. For Derrick Henry, you got to do it off the bye. Lamar's coming back. Things are going to get better for them. Start Panthers defense against the Jets. Yeah, I don't hate it. If you have to.
I am in a couple of spots actually.
Okay. I mean, I don't hate it.
I missed out on a couple of other defensive bids, and I ended up with the Panthers as a contingency bid, and yeah, I'm plugging them in.
Yeah, appreciate the question, guys. Like, subscribe, share to the show if you haven't done already. Appreciate you all. Jamie says Texans can't run inside the 5, but cook through the air. 60% touchdowns on goal line throws, none on runs. Great stat. Yep. Seahawks give up 60% on the pass. TD's there. Bet a Nico's Collins touchdown. Yep. He leads the team in red zone look. Says Nico's going to have his game of the year this season. As far as Nico, yeah. I mean, how do we feel about Nico? We didn't really touch on him yet. And are we looking at Jaden Higgins maybe coming off the bye? Maybe, kind of keeping an eye on him, maybe a speculative ad to get ahead of the game this week, maybe on Jaden Higgins?
I picked him up. A couple of guys, he was dropped in a few of my leagues last week, and I went after him. I picked him up and stashed him.
Okay. How do you feel about Nico? Jamie loves him.
Yeah, I think it's CJ Stroud has a pretty decent game. I'm starting him in a couple of spots too, where I lost Joe Burrow I had to pick up Sam Donald. I had to pick up C.J. Stroud. I have Trevor Lawrence in the mix there. But in a couple of spots I'm playing CJ Stroud. I think Seattle's defense, their secondary was banged up more last week.
I think they're getting healthy this week, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but their best cornerback is still questionable, and he's still on the injury report. So
Witherspoon?
Maybe he's not.
He's limited. Yeah, he's limited in practice.
Maybe he's not 100% yet. And like I mentioned earlier, Seattle's stout against the run. I think it's going to be a passing game all around for Houston, and you could see Jaden Higgins getting more usage. I love Nico Collins. Nico Collins is one of the more consistent wide receiver ones that you could pick. So, I'm confident all around in the Houston passing game.
I don't know. I don't know if I see a huge game for him, because I got to think too. Like we talked about Seattle getting pressure on the Texans, but we also got to think. Texans getting pressure on Seattle. We also got to talk about Seattle getting pressure on Houston with their offensive line.
I brought that up. That's why I like. That's why I like Woody Mox, the dump offs.
Okay. Yeah. So they could get 4 or 5 sacks. That could hurt Nico too. Like this to me, is probably another. I guess it could be a sneaky shootout game if both quarterbacks really come to play and make some big plays. But I think you'd have to look at the under in this game as well. The total is 42.5 or 40.5, 42.5, and 40.5. I'm seeing. I don't know. To get the best number you can. And then Seattle is -3. Do you have any plays in this game or no?
No, I didn't. Nothing that I'm confident enough to actually make bets on.
Yeah.
I have Houston. Houston +3.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Houston +3 with at a +140 odds. I like that.
All right, give me a quick recap of all your picks, then we'll get the hell out of here.
My prop picks.
Your prop, your game pick, whatever you want to just make official.
I picked 4 games against the spread. I like Atlanta +1.5 at +115 odds. I took Houston +3 with +140 odds. And actually, I'm going to cross out the Giants +7 because the more we analyze that game, the more I leaned Denver. I'm more unsure.
You're getting Houston +3 with +140.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. All right.
That's on DraftKings. Dallas +2.5 at +115. I like the Goff parlay, two-leg parlay over 260 passing yards at +120, 3+ TDs +186. Put them together. Gibbs 40+ receiving yards at +253. St. Brown 80+ receiving yards at +104. J-Mo 60+ receiving yards. I didn't write down the odds on that one though, but I do like him to have another decent game. Saquon Barkley 80+ rushing yards at +129. If you want to juice it up even higher, I'm not opposed. I'm just playing it safe with the 80-yard mark. I like a Jordan Addison anytime touchdown at +220. I like my Kamani Vidal under 54.5 rushing yards. That's at -111. And my bold call of the week is a Jerome Ford anytime touchdown at +450.
That sounds like an Anthony pick right there.
That's everything I put down in paper that I looked at before we got on this show. That I was confident and
what was the St. Brown prop again? I think I got them all the other ones. What was the St. Brown one?
80+ receiving yards at +104.
All right. So yeah, you got 3 game picks. That Goff is a parlay, right? Over 260 and +3 touchdowns. What's the odds on that?
It's +119 for the passing yards and +186 for the touchdowns. So
okay. So but you're going to take both straight and the parlay?
I would parlay it.
Okay. Yeah, Gibbs for over 40 receiving yards or laddering that. J-Mo +60 yards. St. Brown 80+ receiving yards. Saquon 80+ rushing yards.
Yeah, I might parlay the whole 5 legs too.
Might as well. Addison anytime +220. Vidal under 54 rushing yards, and Jerome Ford anytime 450. And then the picks you had were Atlanta plus 1.5, Houston plus 3, and Dallas plus 2.5.
You know what else I thought was intriguing too, but I was
I'll hold your bets for you. Send me the money. I'll hold you the bets.
I'm not opposed to Devin Achane under 68.5 rushing yards as well. Not opposed to that.
All right, you want to make it official?
That's at minus 112.
Under 68.5 rushing yards?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I got – go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, make it official. Why not?
All right. Yeah, I got the Rams minus 3 in London against the Jags. I'm going to go Adams over 75.5 receiving yards, over 6.5 catches. BTJ over 65.5. I'll probably parlay all those together. And then Adams 2 touchdowns plus 550. I'm going to take it as like a bonus bet. Jets Carolina under 42. Mason Taylor over 4.5 receptions.
I like that one too.
Plus 125. New England, I'm going to take in a revenge game, minus 6.5. For the 4 o'clocks, I'm going to go Denver Giants under 40.5. Chargers minus 1.5. Sunday Night Football, San Fran, Atlanta under 47. CMC under receiving yards. We talked about Atlanta only allowing 68 total receiving yards to running backs so far. I didn't find that number on CMC, what it is, but I'm going to take it. And then Monday night, Lions minus 3.5, over 53. St. Brown over 74.5 receiving yards. And then Gibbs over 24.5 receiving yards. I'll probably ladder it with you too. Over the 40 plus 253. That's pretty nice. And that's it. So do we have any more questions in the chat, or is that it?
We got a couple of trade comments in there. I don't know if they're questions, but
Millie Mills is back. Appreciate that. Welcome back, brother. Millie Mills says, fellas, I sent Lamb and K9 for Bijan. Hope that guy accepts. All right. I mean, anytime you get in Bijan, you feel pretty good. You are giving up Lamb. So, yeah, go for it, man. I got Pickens, Abuka, Sutton, Golden at wide receiver, and Chase Brown, Jalen Warren, Henry at running back. All right, man. Good luck. Jamie says this has been a great show, guys. Way better than when I would drunk shit like the other night. Talk drunk shit like the other night. Well, you probably didn't feel the best when you woke up in the morning either. So enjoy the rest of your morning. We will, man. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, everybody. Millie Mills, Santos, Job TV. Also, Joey earlier, King Blur. Who else? And everybody else I missed. Appreciate the questions. Like, subscribe, share. This has been a 3-hour and 21-minute show. It's 3:11 in the morning. Thanks, Joe, for coming on, grinding this out with me.
Appreciate it, man. Anytime I don't have to work in the morning, I'm down for this one.
Yeah. Joe will probably be with us to the end of the month, and I might be going solo. But I'll probably turn this show into like an NFL picks strictly, and then just try to shorten it up a little bit. That's what I usually did. I usually go like a half hour, but wanted to try to do a preview show with Joe here, and I think it went pretty well. We answered a lot. I'm going to replay this my damn self and, go through some of these pointers and these stats that we went over with before I set my lineups. Hope you guys do the same. Drop a comment. That's it. Anything else, Joe, before we get out of here?
Nah, that's it. Follow me at Points by Hand Carlton. I have a show on Tuesday nights on the Sports Affiliation YouTube channel. You can like and subscribe there too. There's a lot of good shows on that platform as well.
Yeah, 100%. Joe's handle is scrolling there on the bottom. You can follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. All right, that's it. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games.
Good night, y'all.